The Marines have been deployed to Los Angeles. It's happened. Now, you may be wondering, hold on a minute. They've actually deployed, 700 Marines to the LA riots, which are ongoing right now. As of right now, it's about 5 p.m. in Los Angeles. If you're watching this live, not a whole lot is going on until it gets a little bit darker, but this is the beginning of something big. Some people think this may be Summer of Love 2.0, beginning of riot season. We don't know for sure, but there's a lot to this story. The Mexican president came out and said that these people, these Mexican illegal immigrants, are not criminals and that everyone should stand with them while the U.S. government is trying to expel non-citizens. I'd call that an invasion. So we're going to break all of this down for you. But what I will say off the bat is Insurrection Act. Well, I don't believe the Marines have been dispatched into the riots just yet. Trump is going to have to invoke the Insurrection Act if he wants to send these troops on the ground. But considering the Mexican president told people in this country to stand with her citizens who are here illegally in defiance of the federal government and the National Guard, I'd say, oh boy. That was a dumb thing to do. She does appear to be walking this back. Trump says Tom Homan should arrest Gavin Newsom. It was really funny, actually. And we're going to break all this down for you. We've got an expected mass protest next weekend as people are gearing up for riot season. And, oh boy. There's also some leaked audio from the DNC where apparently one of these guys was crying, which is going to be funny. We'll talk about all that. But before we get started, my friends, we've got a great sponsor. It's Bearskin. Check it out. I'm wearing this right now, actually. Make sure you go to Bearskin Tactical or text 36912. And if you text Tim to that number, 36912, they're going to give you a link, which you can use whenever. So maybe you're driving the car right now, listening to the show, and you want to get one of these super cool jackets. It's actually really nice. That's why I'm wearing it. So I want to give a shout out to Bearskin. They sent us a bunch of these jackets, these raincoats, these fleeces. They actually can be combined into a heavy storm rain jacket combo. They're very, very comfortable. I'd say it's the best outdoor gear that I've got, and I'm really impressed with it. I think it's actually fantastic. So they also launched a new summer version of their hoodie. It's lighter, but just as tough. It's great for fishing, golfing, boating, flying. Perfect for vacations when you only want to take one jacket. And actually, the outer shell, it's really great because it was warm the other day, but raining. And so I got to wear that, They got 10 pockets in here, Winsolation technology. If rain hits, you can just put on the heavy storm jacket. It's pretty good. You got free U.S. shipping and fast domestic delivery, a 60% discount running right now for you guys who text Tim to 36912. Again, that's text Tim to 36912. Look at this. I had this other hoodie and everyone's like, what is that one? Now I have this one and everyone's like, what is that one? Well, they sponsor the show. Bearskin, my friends. You can lock in the discount even if you're commuting or multitasking. So let's say maybe you're in the car, maybe you're busy. Just make sure you text that number on your phone. Come back to it later. Shout out, thanks for sponsoring the show. And also make sure you go to notsickofwinning.com and buy the book, Not Sick of Winning. It's celebrating Donald Trump's first 100 days. Michael Malice, why don't you tell us about this book?
I'm really excited to launch this book right here live on Timcast. I think one of the best things of Trump's presidency and his campaign, which we could all agree on, and is going to be a lasting thing, is that he tore down the idea of gatekeepers. Because 4 years ago, if 60 Minutes wants both the candidates to sit down, they've got the clout. And in 2024, the script was flipped, where Rogan's like, Kamala Harris, if you want to talk to me, you're getting your ass to Austin. I'm not getting a flight to wherever you are and giving you half an hour on your terms. So I'm launching this book today. It's a history of Trump's first 100 days. There's a different chapter for each of the days, so it's 100 short chapters. But my point with this is I'm doing this to screw over the corporate publishers. Because if I'm doing a book with Simon & Schuster or Penguin, it's going to come out in August or November. The thing that we can do now is get a book to market a lot faster than anybody else. And I want to see if we can get it live to make history, get it to #1 on Amazon during the show. We'll have updates throughout the show, but please go buy the book. I promise you'll enjoy it if you're a Trump fan.
Notsickofwinning.com. Now, let me just ask you real quick. You've got 100 chapters.
Yes.
And each chapter is explaining what he did on that day?
Yes, or his administration, right.
That's great.
And why it was awesome.
And why it was awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And in all seriousness, we had a little bit of a hiccup this past week with the Elon stuff. I think it's easy to forget how he over-delivered. I think he's the first president in my lifetime, I think we all agree with this, who did better than we expected when he came in. So when you have it all in one thing, in one book, you realize, wait a minute, there was win after win after win, and we forget a lot of this stuff already. When I was editing it, I'm like, holy shit, there's a lot of good stuff in here.
Right on. Also, real quick, make sure you go to timcast.com, click join us, get in the Discord server. We have a Discord server. It's a community. It's a chat room. It's a club. There's numerous rooms. If you're trying to figure out where to get started on literally anything, writing a book maybe, maybe you want to get fit, work out, make a video game, maybe you just want to help people understand, maybe you know everything and you want to help other people. Community is everything. So we talk about this all the time. Like, don't be sitting around. You should be fit. You should be eating right. You might be thinking, yeah, I don't even know how to do that. There's tens of thousands of people hanging out in our Discord, and they want to be friends with you because people love sharing their knowledge. So we encourage you to get involved, because sitting in pubs and bars is how the Founding Fathers created a nation. If you guys are getting together and you're meeting, that's how these ideas come to fruition. It's how movements begin. And it's how we win a culture war. More importantly, you'll get to call in to our uncensored members-only show tonight at 10 p.m. So if you have questions, you want to sign up, you want to get in, now's the time. Don't forget to smash that like button, share the show with everyone. You know, take that URL, just blast it everywhere. Of course, Michael Malice is here.
Thank you so much for having me back. I'm excited. I really hope we make history tonight and get me #1 on Amazon. And this is going to be a big shot across the bow for people back in New York in the publishing scene.
Is it
that their days are over?
Is it wrong to say it will trigger the libs as well?
This is the kind of book where if you gave it to like your shit lib, your crap lib mom, it'll make her really, really upset because you can't argue with a lot of the stuff he did. He did the right thing a lot of the time, and a lot of it's also really funny.
He's a funny guy.
There's a day we forget
like
this.
when he's calling, like right now when he called for Newsom to be arrested. It's a funny clip. He's such a funny guy. Anyway.
Well, what about when he said today is Gulf of America Day? Everyone should celebrate in appropriate ways. Like, what does that mean? Like, take a bath? But we forget this stuff. So that's why the book's all in there.
Right on. Well, we got Shane hanging out.
What's up? Congrats on the book.
Thank you so much.
I love seeing people take on the corporate publishing world.
Right?
It's a snake pit. It's a
don't
terrible
even get me
industry.
started.
I know you know. I am Shane Cashman, host of Inverted World Live. We go live at 10 o'clock Monday through Thursday, right after this show. Tonight, we're going to talk about something that might surprise you. The government has been lying to you.
Get out of here, Shane.
I know. People watching are surprised, but the Pentagon we just found out through some reports that they've been lying about UFOs to cover up military tech, like Lockheed Skunk Works stuff. So we're going to talk about that. And thank you for the raids and all that stuff. It was a really awesome first week. Appreciate it.
And let me add something to your story. My grandfather was an air traffic controller in the Soviet Union.
Whoa.
And he said we saw UFOs all the time.
Whoa.
So this is not just crazy, random, drunk people like they try to make it out to be. These are high-quality professionals who look at these screens all day and they know when something's up.
And who wouldn't trust a communist?
Well, he wasn't a communist. How dare you? I'm serious. Whoa. You don't call my grandfather a communist.
All right, take it back.
Yeah.
Soviet.
Michael's about to leave.
No. That's my grandfather. You don't call him a communist. Totally. Rest in peace. Yes.
I am Phil That Remains. My name's Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I got so wrapped up in the communist talk. Let's get into it.
Here's a story from the Post Millennial. Breaking: 700 Marines deployed to Los Angeles in support role amid crackdown on anti-ICE riots. They report U.S. Northern Command announced on Monday that 700 Marines are being activated to protect federal personnel property in L.A., as the California city has experienced violent anti-immigrant and immigration customs enforcement riots. So we actually have this posted by Disclosed TV. It's a press release. U.S. Northcom statement on additional military personnel. They say U.S. Northern Command has activated the Marine Infantry Battalion that was placed in an alert status over the weekend. Approximately 700 Marines with 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines, 1st Division will seamlessly integrate with the Title 10 forces under Task Force 51, who are protecting federal personnel and federal property in the greater Los Angeles area. The activation of the Marines is intended to provide Task Force 51 with adequate numbers of forces to provide continuous coverage of the area in support of the lead federal agency. Task Force 51 is U.S. Army North's Contingency Command Post, which provides a rapidly deployable capability to partner with civil authorities and DoD entities in response to a homeland defense and homeland security operations. It is commanded by Major General Scott M. Sherman. Task Force 51 is comprised of approximately 2,100 National Guard soldiers in a Title 10 status and 700 active duty Marines. Task Force 51 forces have been trained in de-escalation, crowd control, and standing rules for the use of force. Now, I will stress for those that are watching live, while all of this news is breaking, the riots are ongoing. However, right now it's 5 or so p.m. in Los Angeles. It's daylight, so largely people are just standing around. But I will stress, over the weekend, they were torching Waymos. Waymo is pulling.
Were they really?
Yeah, they were stopping the
Why
Waymos.
Waymos?
Why not?
Why anything?
Well, no, I mean, are they targeting Waymo? Was
Yes.
what I'm asking. Okay.
because they're easy targets. They
Well, I
come
think
to you,
is it that
you know.
a lot of these guys are doing like Lyft and Uber, and Waymo's putting them out of business?
No, they can just call a Waymo and it pulls
that's-
up. Free car to distribute.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was giving him too much logic.
They summon it. It
I
drives
got
up.
you. Yep.
And you stand in front of it. It won't move.
You know, Waymo saved my life, but we'll get to that later.
Wow. Well, so I will stress this. This is important. These Marines are being deployed to federal facilities to protect them. I think that bypasses posse comitatus because they're not actively engaging in law enforcement. They're just personnel dispatched to a federal facility. If Trump or Hegseth or anybody is to send them to the streets, I think they'd have to invoke the Insurrection Act. Or we also have another story we'll get into a little bit with the Mexican president saying that the people targeted by ICE are not criminals and that people in general should stand with Mexican nationals in the United States. I'd say it's a formal, or I should say I think it's a declaration of invasion. I mean, look, we can state the president that we expect decorum where the Mexican president says, I hereby declare invasion of the United States and sends out a flyer. But if a foreign president says, my citizens in your country should be protected and are allowed to be there, that's declaring that you're telling your people to do this. If that is the case, that foreign nationals are being advocated for by the foreign nationals' government, and many of these people are flying Mexican flags, Trump's going to say, this is not local law enforcement. Marines are being dispatched because an invasive force is in our country, and that he would not need the Insurrection Act for.
Am I the only person here who's an immigrant, by the way?
Yes.
Where are you from?
Serge.
Yeah, I was going to say, Serge, he's African American. You can't tell.
It bothers me when people are immigrants and they're not waving the American flag. Like in my sheath ad, I'm draped in the American flag. It's kind of ironic. It's like a boxing thing, but it's also not ironic. Like, you're here. This place gave you a home. The thing that really kind of makes me laugh about all the Jew hate is that they're like America first, except for these college students who hate Israel. It's like, no. You're here. You're in some other. When I was in North Korea, you better believe I was on my best behavior and minding my P's and Q's and acting, appropriately. So if this country has put a roof over your head, giving you opportunities, giving you safety, you don't have to worry about being decapitated by a gang, a little bit of gratitude would go a long way. And it's kind of scary that saying this is like some kind of crazy far-right point of view.
This is the first time that I've ever seen, or that I can recall seeing, these types of protests about immigration or illegal immigration, where there were people that were openly flying the Mexican flag. Now, maybe it has happened and I'm unaware of it, but this, to my recollection, is a totally new dynamic where people are literally anti-America while they stand in America and demand that America
Do you know what
allow
it
them to
is? It's
stay.
because it trickles down from the universities where loving the flag and loving
agree.
America is something to be embarrassed about. So that what happens is these kids go to college, some of them, they go back to their communities, they teach them these leftist values, and then it ends up with people on Facebook. I've seen this. They go to Mount Rushmore, they're giving the finger to those four presidents. It's like, what are you doing?
I was talking with Julio Rosas, who's on the ground, and he was breaking it down like, look, he's an American. He was born in America. I think he's got relatives, of course, that are Mexican. And he said a lot of these people, they're raised by parents who are legal immigrants.
Right.
They're given citizenship status, so they can't be deported. But their culture and their worldview is Mexico. It's Mexican. So what you're seeing on the ground are American citizens waving Mexican flags. This is one of the biggest problems with birthright citizenship.
Yes.
These people have no allegiance to America.
Yep.
They vacation in Mexico. Their relatives are in Mexico. They send money to Mexico, but because they were born here, they get a protected status as citizens, and then they act to subvert and defy the will of the American people.
That was one of the things that was the most objectionable about what Scheinbaum said. She said that she had a problem with taxing on remittances, which is like, I mean, look, if you're going to say, look, Mexicans that are in America, there's a special history and
Sure.
you should blah, blah, blah. That's fine. Totally understand that. And I might even be sympathetic to the argument, even though I would still be like, look, if they're here illegally, they got to go. But the fact of the matter is, she was talking about remittances where it's like, look, this is an economic statement on her part.
Yes.
And it's absolutely, like, in my opinion, Americans should look at that and be offended. But that she would have the audacity to say that you should allow Mexican nationals to be in your country, break the law, misbehave, act the way they do, and then when you even talk about taxing remittances, money sent from your country, literally drained from your country and sent to Mexico, she's going to act like it's somehow like that is somehow acceptable international diplomacy or whatever.
Maybe she should focus on overseeing her country that had 30 assassinations of presidential candidates just last year.
Is that true?
Yeah, I think at least 30.
Well, they weren't. They weren't all
presidential candidates.
No, they were
like
all
other
in the
politicians,
government, but 30, like 26 or something like that.
I don't know, man. You're trying to. Now I'm kind of on their side.
Okay, so let's
kind of making me feel like a Mexican now.
So with these riots,
Spoken like an immigrant.
a Democrat governor coalition has come out and said, Trump, back off, don't do this. My argument is, and I say I'm correct, of course, Democrats are, well, I mean, argue with me.
In my opinion, aka the Holy Scriptures.
Well, I think that look, there are some instances where I would say, like, I could be wrong about this.
Sure.
No, I'm saying this is just my view as breaking everything down, but I think it's spot on. Democrats are intentionally standing down. The rioters are effectively corsairs for the Democrats and the California government. The government can't dispatch police to actively defy ICE, but they can dispatch rioters and allow them to wreak havoc, preventing mass deportations, because Democrats get an estimated 10 to 25 extra congressional votes and votes for the president by having illegal immigrants in sanctuary states. So when Donald Trump says we are going to mass deport everybody, the Democratic machine, especially California with 52 congressional seats and EC votes, is saying, how do we stop Trump? We can't send law enforcement to stop him. That would be a crisis, a serious one. We can incite and aggravate riots intentionally and then stand down and let them obstruct Trump, effectively acting as privateers. I think that's the goal.
Well, there's a couple other things. First of all, 2020 worked very well for them. When you had all this mass unrest throughout the country, it led to President Biden being in the White House. And I think what they don't realize is they're not quick on the uptake, right? And in 2020, we all remember those times. If President Trump had sent in the troops, the media was waiting to call him an authoritarian strongman Hitler. They were waiting. We all saw it. And I don't know who got to him, but he was smart enough to sit in his hands and say, I'll send the troops if you ask, but I'm not doing it otherwise, which was a smart move. This is not 2020 anymore. When Trump sends in these troops for things like this, everyone, or the huge majority of the other side, the way it was in 2020, are going to be on Trump's side. It's not going to be viewed as some kind of insane Mussolini power grab. It'll be like, it's ridiculous that you're an illegal immigrant and you have the right to like ride in the streets and cause unrest.
Look at Abrego Garcia. He's back.
Yeah, well,
he's back in the United States.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Standing trial for human trafficking in Nashville.
I thought he was writing.
No.
He's in LA.
Nope. They brought him to Nashville because he's charged with trafficking thousands of individuals.
Yeah.
And Trump was like, it wasn't my decision. I don't think he should have come back.
I agree.
But the DOJ wanted to bring him back, and they're wasting our money.
I don't think they wanted to. I think they were forced to, don't you?
Well, the argument was Trump could pressure El Salvador into releasing him, but he's under no obligation to engage in foreign policy of that nature.
Sure.
So while the Supreme Court said he should facilitate the return, he said no. He ultimately said the DOJ made the decision to bring him back, but he was charged with human trafficking. So I think the political play there is completely defang the left's argument now, because while they're calling it a victory, the response is going to be a human trafficker on trial for human trafficking was defended and protected by Democrats. So what this is a manipulation that we see quite a bit. Like the alt-right campaign from 2016 is a really good example of this. The media had been referring to anybody who supported Trump as alt-right,
Yes,
using the phrase alt-right as a reference to a new right, a kind of anti-establishment right-wing cohort.
I should write a book about that.
And then a year later, they said actually alt-right means white nationalist.
Right. Yeah.
The AP issued a style guide, so that meant people like Jack Posobiec or anybody Cernovich, who had said, I agree with this new alternative to the right. You could go back in time and apply their statement to the new definition and say, aha, they admitted to being white supremacists. That's the game that's being played effectively by the Trump administration. Abrego Garcia gets deported. The Democrats defend him all crazy. Then you bring him back with human trafficking charges and say, remember when they were defending this guy who was charged with human trafficking?
Well, here's the other good play, because there are a lot of people in conservative circles that I don't agree with, and I doubt most people in this room don't agree with as well. The idea that like Trump should just say "screw you" to the courts, And that is a very slippery slope because in 4 years or 8 years or 12 years from now, there's going to be a Democratic president. And you do not want that Democratic president to be like, I don't care what the Supreme Court says. We're going to have, digital ID, or we're going to have, some kind of lockdown, so on and so forth. So for Trump to reach a point where he's going to say, screw you to the Supreme Court, he should really play that card when he needs to, if he needs to, God hoping he doesn't, and not over just one dude. So when we saw this, the New York Times, all these others foaming at the mouth, Trump hates the legal system, this is a banana republic. He's like, oh, no, you want him? You got him. He's just going to jail. But I'm listening to the Supreme Court.
Let's jump to this story. We have this from Live Mint. Quote, migrants are not criminals. Mexico President Claudia Sheinbaum criticizes L.A. raids. This is insane. This is the escalation. This is what formalizes an invasion.
Wait, can I just say one more thing? Sure, but deportation's not a jail sentence.
Yeah.
You're not treating them like criminals. You're not putting them in jail.
But this is why I'm saying it's an invasion.
Right.
We have seen this debate from the left and the right about whether or not people illegally entering from the southern border is an invasion. Mm-hmm. And you've got these prominent liberals saying invasion means a foreign military sending people, blah, blah, blah. And the right has argued they are marching with their flags. Well, now we have it. The president of Mexico has said, quote, Mexicans living in the United States are good men and women, honest people who went to the United States to seek a better life for themselves and to support their families. They are not criminals. They are good men and women, she said in a speech. She also stated that multiple Mexicans were arrested in the ongoing immigration raids conducted by ICE officials. The count, as suggested by her, currently stands around 35. During her moving speech, she asked everyone to stand by the arrested Mexicans. So let me stress this. She is acknowledging they are not American citizens. They are her citizens, Mexican nationals, illegally in this country, arrested by our law enforcement, and she's calling on people to defend them. So when they're out in the streets flying Mexican flags with the support of the Mexican president, who's calling on more people who are actively rioting against our National Guard and law enforcement, Trump should say, that's it. That is a formal declaration, and it's enough. Dispatch the Marines and start deporting and getting everybody out.
I think I disagree with you slightly. I think before he goes to 10, he should let this play out. Because was that Rahm Emanuel said, never let a good crisis go to waste?
Yeah.
These optics are playing very well for the Republicans. Because the big swing demographic in elections is Karen. It's white suburban women. And white suburban women do not like rioting. They do not like people flying foreign flags. They don't like they just worry about the grocery.
Agreed. Let me clarify. The next direct granular move Trump makes is coming out and saying, I am shocked to hear the president of Mexico calling for an escalation of riots in this country to protect her citizens who are illegally in our country.
That's the move, yes.
That's the move. And then, of course,
you can always go up, but you can't go down.
When he needs to use the military to remove criminal illegal aliens in this country, she just gave him the pretext under the Alien Enemies Act. There was a debate. So the debate for the Alien Enemies Act is that the law requires that a foreign government or collective force is invading your country. Two arguments were used. One, that these narco gangs and cartels are effectively organized bodies that constitute, declaration under the Alien Enemies Act. But many argued they have to be in collusion with a nation state.
Yeah,
But the argument was Venezuela is intentionally sending Tren de Aragua to the United States. Ergo, we can target them under this law because it is a semi-official act of government. Now you have the Mexican president who's made the statement. These are good people seeking a better life, and I call on people to stand with them. Now Trump can say Mexico's effectively sanctioned the illegal immigration into our country.
I talk about that Insurrection Act in the book because maybe I'm too much of an anarchist, but to me I don't really see the distinction in any sense between like when Russia is sending over troops to America or Japan is bombing Pearl Harbor, and a private gang which is running a huge section of Venezuela is sending its members to infiltrate and seize American land and take it under its thumb. I mean, it's effectively the same thing.
It's like the argument with Ukraine right now, where all the liberals always say the U.S. isn't there. And I said, you're right. The U.S. veterans who are operating as private military contractors in the volunteer force who receive cash from Ukraine, which is actually cash from the United States. And then the United States sends special forces down and tells a Ukrainian soldier, here's a missile, press that button and you'll blow up that ship from Russia. And they say, that's not the United States. No one buys that. We're not kindergartners. Do you think Russia's sitting there being like, drat, America's not doing it because someone else pressed the button?
I mean, this is the thing with World War II. You know, all these things. It's like at what point, as aid, become you're actually a member of the opposing side?
Wasn't the Insurrection Act started because of Mexico too?
Was it? It was
Aaron
1798,
Burr.
wasn't it?
Well, the 1807
1798.
one.
Okay.
What was the
It was
Insurrection
1798,
Act of
yeah.
1807?
Insurrection Act of 1807. Let's see.
Aaron
the
Burr was
purpose.
going to take over Mexico or something.
There's rumors that he was trying to do that.
Yeah.
It's still not clear.
There was like some guy who turned on him, right?
Right, yeah.
Let's see.
I could have sworn it was 1798. I think
We
it
went
There-
through a few different
iterations. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Thank you, Shane.
I'm pretty sure you're right because I was reading about both of them today. Let me see if because that's why they are distinct. Let's see. Insurrection Act 1798. Is it right?
Yeah. That number's in my head for some reason.
That was, I think, that's the Alien and Seditions Act.
Yeah. Okay.
So the Insurrection Act of 1807 and the Alien Sedition, yeah. So they're different. I think Insurrection Act was 1807.
Okay.
Aaron
Oh,
Burr was
nope,
just
nope.
super mad.
I was technically wrong. You were technically wrong. We were all technically right. 1792. It was
Okay.
called the Calling Forth Act of 1792. The Insurrection Act replaced that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were looking for a way to stop Aaron Burr for taking over.
We were talking a bit before we started, Aaron. I'd love to hear people's thoughts on this. I don't understand her play here. Like, who is this helping?
Well, she's backtracked.
Okay.
Check this out. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum reacts to LA ICE protests. This was from later in the day. So about 12 hours later, she says, we do not agree with violent actions as a form of protest. Burning police cars appears to be more than an act of provocation than of resistance. We condemn violence no matter where it comes from. We call on the Mexican community to act pacifically and not allow itself to be provoked. However, a day ago, she praised them.
Hold on, you got to pause there. Not allowing itself to be provoked. What she's laying the groundwork for is that if they start burning down things, it's not our fault. You push this into it.
Yeah.
But they do mention, this is Fox 11, a day ago, she praised the contributions of Mexicans in LA, saying they were good, honest men and women who left to seek a better life for themselves and support their family. LA wouldn't be what it was if it weren't for the Mexicans who live there.
That's true.
So
It's
hellhole?
true. You can't deny it. Like, there's a big Mexican influence on LA.
A lot of burritos there.
I think this later statement is that she's realizing by defending the people that are here illegally, she's effectively sanctioned an invasion, no matter how small or how big Trump wants to view it as. How many Mexican illegal immigrants come to this country, and she's publicly declared to the world they're good, should be supported, and it's a just thing to do. They're just I'm sorry. You know what my point on this was? They're just seeking a better life. Okay, the majority of conflicts are because people are quote unquote seeking a better life. Like when Genghis Khan invaded and conquered a bunch of lands, or when the Vikings raided the British Isles. It was because they wanted something that would make their lives better.
Yeah, there's no question that I don't think anyone, no matter how nativist you are, denies that the majority of immigrants aren't going to be like murderers and rapists. The numbers just don't up. No one's denying this. The point is, at a certain point, you can only integrate so many people, and there's only so much physical space for them. And you have to draw the line somewhere. It's not complicated.
The argument that we make on this, that we discuss most frequently on the show, is the argument about the census and about representative government.
That's right, yeah.
You know, the people that are coming into the United States, if you are coming here illegally and you are counted in the census, then you affect how the representatives in Congress are apportioned, how that happens, and that's diluting the voting power of citizens that have been here all their lives, that didn't want you to come to the United States. You came illegally, and that's wrong to the existing citizens.
Yes. And by the way, when people yell at me for not voting, I just realized this in the last month. My new line I'm going to say something, getting stupid arguments with them, is I don't think immigrants should be allowed to vote. Sorry, folks.
I'm an immigrant, so.
Yep.
But it's true.
It is true.
The fact that this is diluting the voting power of the American citizen is the biggest problem.
The biggest problem, in my opinion, and I think you'd agree, is birthright citizenship. It makes no sense.
I do
Just
agree.
because you're born on American soil does not make you an American. There should be a process. There's a process for my family. And if part of that process was I can become a certain type of citizen, a second-class citizen, and I can't vote or I can't do this, and that, that's fine. There's plenty of people in awful countries who are like, you know what? I'll put in the 10 years. It's so much better to what I came from. If I can't vote, so much the better. I can stop free speech.
The example that I always give is that if you live in an apartment with a roommate and then one day a guy's sleeping on your couch, and so you say, okay, fine, it's okay that he crashes here for a little bit. The next person who shows up, you say, you know what, I'm putting my foot down. Guy on the couch and your roommate both raise their hand. We vote, he can come in.
Yeah,
2 against 1. What's happening in this country, we are watching American citizens, these are American citizens, largely flying the Mexican flags.
Because they feel safe, and they're correct to feel safe.
They can't be deported. They're Americans, but they're allegiant to Mexico. Well, I got news. Sooner or later, when there is an actual, like right now, you know, let me just say this. It's all interpretable, and it's all how history will dictate, and that means whoever wins is going to get it. Trump can say the Mexican president has aided and abetted illegal immigration and invasion into our country. Americans who are, if you are firebombing federal law enforcement, that's sedition. That is a seditious conspiracy against federal law enforcement, against a foreign invasive force. There's going to be severe penalties for that. That's like 10 years in prison.
Can I make everyone in this room very scared and blackpill them? Because there's a part to the story that people might be too young to realize. Phil, I'm sure you're going to remember this. I'm not trying to be mean. The last Republican governor of California, before Schwarzenegger, sorry, the second to last Republican governor of California was Pete Wilson. And there was a referendum on the ballot. I forget what it was. It was 11, I think it was. And the bill, it passed, and it said, you can't use, I don't remember exactly.
You can't use public funds for non-citizens.
Not as citizens. And this was supposed to be California's last stand. We're getting overrun. If you want to be here, fine. You're not going to get the largesse of the Californian government since you're not paying in. The court struck it down. And as a consequence of that, California, which was heavily purple, has gone extremely blue.
Yep. That was the last time I ever voted red.
Right. And the concern is if Trump doesn't make this stick, California, which has in many other ways been like a laboratory for the rest of the country, can be a premonition for what's yet to come.
In fact, many American historians, writers, journalists, whatever you call it, say that California is usually 5 years ahead of the rest of the country. What happens there will happen to the rest of the country. But the story with Reagan, I believe it was like amnesty in 1986. He was president. He signed it.
Right.
So there were 2.9 million illegal immigrants who were overnight granted this amnesty. In 1994, I think it was, is when they said, we want to ban public funds for non-citizens. Right. Well, guess what? The people granted amnesty and their children who were granted amnesty said, you're going to take money away from my aunt, my uncle, my dad, my mom? No. And so they all flipped and voted for the Democrats, who promised to make sure illegal immigrants could still get your public funds. That is what happens. And right now, take a look at this photo. This is the iconic photo from the riots just the other day of black smoke as a man waves a Mexican flag. These people, there's a video of a man burning an American flag saying, that's not my flag. These people don't even want American citizenship.
Yeah.
They were born here and they're like, they gave it to me. I never asked for it. They've been protesting in the streets of California, make California Mexico again. I'm not exaggerating.
Well, that's been a thing for a minute. Yeah.
I've witnessed this.
Oh, yeah. I've seen
in San Jose at a Trump rally where they were mercilessly beating people in the streets, they were holding up those signs saying, make California Mexico again. They argue that after it was Mexican American was 1835 or something. Then the U.S. basically took all this land from Mexico.
Yeah.
And that California is actually theirs and has been the whole time.
Mexico owned like that portion of land for like 20 years. It's been part of America for like 10 times longer than Mexico ever, like than it was ever part of Mexico.
I just had a great idea that might solve everything.
All right.
Let's make California Gaza. It would solve a lot of problems.
But what do you,
Michael's about to sail there.
Functionally, what do you mean by that?
Oh, I think you all know what I mean.
I think
you know exactly what I mean.
I think we should have invaded California a long time ago.
Right.
Like I was
Blockade it.
I was going down memory lane just the last few years. Here's some: Maxine Waters inciting political violence, Eric Swalwell sleeping with a Chinese spy, Kamala Harris Bonnie bluing her way into power. They were arresting surfers while lockdowns were happening. Nancy Pelosi getting her hair done during lockdowns. The skate parks filled with sand was insane. Hollywood was allowed to do its thing while churches were shut down. Yep. And they had secret Chinese police stations in LA and San Francisco. Like, this is not America.
To be fair, those secret Chinese police stations all over the country.
They were in Nebraska. Yeah. They were in New York City.
What do you mean secret Chinese police?
China set up what were like private organizations to police Chinese individuals in this country.
Is that a bad thing?
They created a shadow government to enforce laws that aren't on the American books.
Wait, but so their job is to make sure Chinese people don't break the law?
They were their own stuff. Like, there were
Chinese
people
laws
who would go against the CCP.
Yes.
I don't hate it.
So if you're an
You
American,
should hate that.
if you're a Chinese person in the United States,
Chinese citizen or Chinese person?
a Chinese person,
Okay, but non-citizen.
not a citizen.
Okay.
And let's say you fled China to come to the
Sure,
United States.
sure.
They would come and they'd beat and drag you because they're not arresting you. They have no authority to do that. They would detain you under their authority in the United States. Let's jump to this next story from the Post Millennial. Breaking: President Trump says Gavin Newsom should be arrested amid LA riots. Okay, first of all, the weirdest thing happened with Gavin Newsom where he's being interviewed and he goes, what are you going to do, Tom Homan? Arrest me? I'd like to see that. You know, come on, I can take it.
Did he really?
Yes. Remember Mel Gibson on South Park where he was like, what are you going to do? I don't want to be too crass, so maybe I shouldn't get into it. But he was like, I can take it. Stick it in there. Come on. Is that what you think you're going to do? This is what I get from Gavin Newsom. Maybe they have the video. I don't know. Where he's like, arrest me. I can take it. So here's the video of Trump. Here you go.
Gavin Newsom he's daring Tom Homan to come and arrest him. Should he do it? I would do it if I was Tom. I think it's great. I would do it. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it would be a great thing. He's done a terrible job. Look, I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows. All you have to do is look at the little railroad he's building. It's about 100 times over budget. We're putting a flagpole over there. Under budget. I always do under budget.
Wait, we're at a point where Trump sounds like he's doing a Trump impression. Right? Everybody knows the railroad.
I would do it if I were Tom. I think he's great. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it would be a great thing.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's like, look, I like Gavin, but arrest him. It'd be hilarious. Just arrest him. It'd be funny. Great if you do it.
He swore an oath. It's not for his friends.
That's right.
Wow.
I mean, I think it'd be kind of like it would be great for Gavin Newsom if he was arrested, if Trump arrested him.
You know he's got to arrest.
Pardon me?
You know who he's got
Let
to
me
arrest.
play the clip for
Hold
you.
on. Karen Bass.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's who you got to arrest.
Yeah.
She's burnt down the city twice now.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen to this.
Has been here 10 years. The fear, the horror.
The
The
self-righteousness.
hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy. You know, I don't give a damn. But I care about my community. I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up. They need to stop.
Grow up. What does that mean?
And we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
Well, I love the idea that kind of bloviating is exhausting, but this kind of bloviating, that's the stuff you want.
I got to be honest. From the way he was saying, "Arrest me, Tom. Come on," I feel like he's into it. Like in the
He
wrong
is.
kind. You
It'll
know?
help his campaign.
Well, I don't mean that.
Best for him.
I think he's looking at
fetish?
Tom, being like, "That's the kind of guy I want to cuff me."
Oh, boy.
Well, we know, okay, so we know that Gavin Newsom is Eskimo Brothers with Junior.
Yes.
Because Gavin Newsom used to be married to Kilmer Guilfoyle.
Yeah.
Right, who's now the ambassador to Greece. So I think it's pretty given that any.
It sounds so much dirtier now when you put it like
But
that.
it's true. I think it's pretty much a given that any political figure has got to be a pervert behind closed walls, and that's not kink shaming. But
Come on, Tom. I can take it. Arrest me.
You know he would love to be handcuffed and that hair carefully lost, a little bit of a broken lip.
It would be the best thing for his career.
It's
this
just
year.
Yeah.
It's just the oh no, don't, like, we get it, Gavin. You want him to arrest you.
You know what I think it is? I think he's seen the same numbers everyone in this room has, and he sees his path to the nomination in 2028 is not as clear as he imagined it would have been.
Yeah.
I see all the polls I've seen him shockingly of all the Democrats he polls the worst, which you would think because he's so slick that he'd do well, and it's not flying.
Well, I think they should arrest him, but not for this. They should, like, if Tom Homan came out and said, "Okay, Gavin, we're gonna come in and we're gonna execute a warrant. Have you arrested? How's that sound?" And then Gavin's like, "Okay, come do it." Then they should go through his personal belongings and then arrest him on, like, a drug charge or something, like totally unrelated.
Wait, can we say something else though? He saw what happened that getting arrested did for Trump.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's just playing the same. He's like, wait a minute, if it worked for Trump, it'll work for me.
It'd be great for
It
his
won't.
podcast.
Yeah. They still have it? They still doing it?
I don't know, but like they should arrest him, but do it totally in secret, so he gets no publicity,
perp walk?
no perp walk,
Like with Epstein,
and then
yeah.
they could deny it. Just throw him away for a while and say, I don't know where he went.
Or they can arrest him and charge him with something absolutely insane related to, like, just
Well, trying to overturn the election?
something ridiculous. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, what?
Being a demon.
I don't think he's charismatic enough to be a demon.
Oh, he's a demon.
No, he's not.
I've been in a room with that guy. He smells like sulfur.
Well, that's because he took the shower here.
Yeah.
Nobody has any idea what that means, Michael.
Well, the water here in Springfield has sulfur in it. I don't want to give up the location.
Springfield.
It has sulfur in it. So, yeah.
Springfield, West Virginia.
Okay, I don't know. I know how secretive you're being.
It's really funny
sure there's a
because
Springfield.
all the country folk heard, the sulfur thing and they laughed because city folk, not like I'm special, but the people who come out here from the city are shocked to find that water smells funny. And it's the funniest thing about it is when they go to the bathroom, someone will wash their hands and walk out of the bathroom and they'll walk in and go, whoa, turn the fan on or light a match. And it's like, bro, that's the sink, not the toilet.
Yeah.
You're just smelling sulfur and well water. Calm down. It's like you never gone to a lake house? What are you doing?
No, he's a demon, dude. He's slick. Not all demons
Nah,
are charming.
No, yeah, but
up.
maybe, but a lesser demon.
Well, okay,
He's-
hold on.
like an
he's
imp.
evil enough.
Yeah,
He's just a slime.
Well, there's
listen,
levels
hey.
to demons.
yeah. You're going to tell me about levels to demons?
Yeah, let's talk about levels to
Are you
demons.
serious?
Demon or reptile person?
Yeah.
Thin line, Phil. That's a thin
You think
line.
he's
No,
immortal?
because demons are
Immortal?
spiritual creatures.
not a
And
spiritual
Wait.
evil.
Hold on. I'm with Mike on this one. Reptilians, like when you describe someone as reptilian, they're not good at social behaviors. They're weird and cold and they lack emotion. Demons can convince you to sell your soul. They're very
I
charming
think the
and
reptiles are demons. Reptiles are demons.
Okay.
Definitely.
Someone needs a dictionary.
Definitely.
bro, are you kidding?
Someone needs a Bible.
The reptiles are from Zeta Reticuli.
That's why I smell like sulfur.
They're
I
aliens.
touched one.
The reptiles are at best interdimensional beings, not demons.
I've seen him put on his skin suit at the presidential debate, and then
That means
was
he's a
like,
reptile, not a demon.
hold on.
Demon.
Thank you.
Demon hiding.
Gavin Newsom puts on his skin suit one leg at a time, just like all the other reptiles.
Reptiles. One tail at a time.
One scale at a time.
One tail at a time. Oh, yeah. I can't believe you. Demons to me speak of power and danger. He does not seem powerful, dangerous.
But there's demons who are low level, like
Even the
working,
low-level
operating
ones.
behind
Yeah,
7-Elevens, trying to get children, and there's demons in politics.
I don't
There's
think
demons
he's
like
that.
Ted Bundy, and I think he's definitely.
I would trust
no.
Gavin Newsom to babysit my nephews.
Wait, I got it.
What?
I don't think. I don't
I
think he's
would
like
definitely
that.
not.
I got it. He's a familiar.
Who's the witch though?
Well, no, he's
Pelosi.
a demon's familiar.
No, the witches have familiars.
So it's
Am I the only one here who played D&D who had no friends as a kid?
I play D&D.
Thank you.
You could be a demon's slave.
Well,
Whatever.
it can't be a demon's familiar. A familiar is
I
someone
get it.
earthborn.
Okay, fine. He
You
sold
don't
his.
get it.
He sold his soul to a demon. There you go.
There you go.
Okay.
That's to make him a demon.
Right. Agreed.
We're on the-
we can all agree
We're
on
in
that.
agreement as to the magical implications of Gavin Newsom's personality.
That just made him the mayor of San Francisco and the governor of California for however long he has been. That's how he achieved these.
6 years. Yeah.
These great results.
Yeah.
These feats. So, but I look. I don't.
Oh wait a
it
minute.
just-
Maybe you're saying that Kimberly Guilfoyle's the witch. Maybe he was her familiar.
Maybe.
She seems nice.
I
yeah,
wouldn't be
but
surprised.
I don't think she's a witch at all.
I like Don Jr. So
Well,
Maybe that's why they broke up.
They split up.
I know, but like even then, it's like, oh, Don's cool though.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah,
Which
Gavin
can be
Newsom.
tricky, though.
That I got to be honest though, like outside of all the weird, joking, magical stuff, it is kind. It
Me
is.
neither.
I'm not joking. I'm not.
Okay.
Hold on. Can I say one thing, and then you're gonna agree with me? I'm not joking that I think there are demons walking among us who commit evil things that someone like Gavin Newsom would never do.
I agree. And you know what? We've talked about demons and stuff before. I was talking to Jack Posobiec, and I said, telling me that like Jesus resurrected doesn't convince me of Christianity, but telling me there are demons does.
But I think there would be demons in power who would destroy entire states.
But they're not going to be like him. They're going to be behind the scenes.
But I think he fetishizes the destruction and chaos and what he
don't
did to
think
California all these
sure.
years.
But my point is, I have met people that defy logic as to their evil.
Phil?
Who?
Phil?
Oh no, Phil's not. Phil's not.
Not evil.
Phil's a paladin.
Is he?
He's a knight of righteous.
I feel like we're too short to be paladins.
Some kind of bard, I think.
No, man.
I'm thinking.
Bard, yes, they are.
There are people
musician.
that that I cannot believe the levels of evil, and obviously when you look at Epstein, you're like, oh, you mean demons? Yeah. Obviously there are greater demons of power of pure evil and things like that. I'm talking about there are regular people who would like just push you in front of a car for they are seeking to do evil at any level
own
possible
sake.
for fun for demonic pleasure. And it's crazy how in the past several years it seems to have become more and more pronounced.
I think people are more because Hollywood teaches us since we're kids that like evil people, you could spot them on sight. And now I think thanks to social media, you're like, wait, people do the kinds of evil things that you don't hear about in movies. I think I talked about last time I was here. Heard this story. It's on YouTube. I think about it like once a week. This mom and her teenage son, there was a kid, the other son, and he had to sleep under the stairs. The only food he was given was bread with the hottest hot sauce. He had to sit immobile, and if he moved, they had motion detector, they put him in ice baths and they killed him.
Oh, right, yeah.
And and it's like, that's demonic activity. Who's helping?
Yep.
Right.
That's not just child abuse.
I actually, I don't know. I don't think I'd say enough to believe, but it certainly feels plausible that there has been an increase in some kind of evil possession over the past decade plus, where it's become profoundly. You look at some of these protest videos, you look at some of the behaviors that people engage in, you look, man, I don't want to get into the personal stuff for me, but I have witnessed things that shock the soul as to the
Sure.
And I'm like, people that I've known my whole life doing things with Kubrick stares. It's like you can argue they have a psychotic break and want to be demons, or there's something else spiritual that has infected their souls. I don't know.
It's all of it. You know, it's like when I was out with Alex Rosen catching those child predators.
Yeah.
You know, and like this man was a demon. Like he was about to walk away with an 11-year-old girl. He was a straight up demon.
See, I think there's two kinds of predators.
Yeah.
There's people who are victims themselves and they kind of pass it on, and there's people who do evil for the sake of evil.
But I think those people, it's like a possession has passed on.
Something's
you know,
going on
like
there.
because a lot of these people were victims
yeah,
themselves from their childhood.
Let's jump to this story from the Post Millennial. Waymo pulls self-driving cars out of downtown LA after 5 torched by rioters. The company said that it removed its vehicles from downtown LA and would not be serving that area out of an abundance of caution. Autonomous taxi service Waymo suspending its service. Per the Washington Post, the company said that it has removed its vehicles from downtown LA. Footage from the streets of LA showed rioters attacking the self-driving vehicles in the street, with one being seen on the roof of the car, hitting it with a skateboard. Another car was seen on fire as rioters posed in front of it for photos. Well, what I will say about Waymo is that I used it when I was in LA, and I did not enjoy it. It dropped me off the wrong location every time. And when it dropped us off, Sean and I, it dropped us off on the side of the road, like a busy street. It just pulled up. It just slowed down in the middle of a road, and then just said, "You're at your destination." I was like, "No, I'm not. And I'm not getting out in the road. What?"
I think Waymo kind of saved my life because the first time I'm not even kidding. Watch, I'll tell you the story. The first time I was in a Waymo, I recorded it and I put it on Instagram. I was so excited. And all the comments were like, "You sound like a pug. Are you pleasuring yourself in there? Why are you breathing so heavy?"
What?
And I listened to it and I was breathing very heavily, which was very disturbing to me. And I went to an ENT and that's how I learned I had sleep apnea.
Oh, all right. Okay.
And after that, I got the machine, and it's a very dangerous thing to have because when you're asleep several times a night, you're choking.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't wake up, or it gets you so depressed and anxious, you start having severe cognitive distortions. So that Waymo was a major benefit to
And
me.
you're sleeping
And
well
So
now,
because
right?
you
And
were
also-
filming the Waymo, like
I
look
was
at this.
inside it.
Right? And you were filming, like, look, there's no driver.
Yes. And thank you to all the fans for being so mean because that
saved
got
your
through
life
to me.
too,
Yeah.
yeah.
I did tell you guys, I saved someone's life once through my cruelty. This is a true story. My friend Tibby, who was in Cash Cab with me, this is years ago, so I'm sorry if I'm telling story out of school. She was in a very bad way and she wanted to commit self-harm. So there was only a bottle of Manischewitz in the house to wash everything down. And she thought to herself, if I do this, Michael will never let me hear the end of it, which is true. So she waited a day and her husband found her and now she's happy, healthy, and everything
Wow.
like that. So
Wow.
God
Glad
bless.
to hear it. Glad to hear it.
Wow.
What, you would like haunt her soul?
No, I
with
would
mockery?
I would just stand up about it. I mean, it's funny.
That would be my legacy.
Is the most kosher suicide that's ever happened. I
Get a name for a book.
Oof.
Yeah. Because
So
trolling can save
let's-
lives.
It can. It
Let's
has.
talk about these Waymos. Here, you know why they got trashed? It's because you can summon them
Right.
and they won't fight back.
Yeah.
So my assumption is either these cars were driving down the street and someone walked in front of it and it just stops.
Sure.
And then everyone just says, there's no one who can stop us, no one who can report us, and they got destroyed. I wouldn't be surprised if someone actually called one, ordered it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, their record, they're going to be on file having done it, and they're going to say, it wasn't me who did it. They're going to say, I was calling a Waymo to get a ride, and then everyone else attacked it.
Right.
Yeah.
Lazy arsonists.
Yeah. Bring the car to me. Instead of me going in the car comes to me.
What happened?
It's the future.
There's a really great point made about Waymo. I saw on X that's they're bad to use for one reason. They are the bottom tier of like the bottom class in traffic. Whenever you call a Waymo, it'll say it's 7 minutes away and it'll take 20. Why? Because
I've never had that. Really?
people will walk in front of it.
That's not my experience in Austin.
So in LA, we used Waymo I think 3 or 4 times, and they were always longer than it would say. It would be like 7 minutes out, and then it would take 15 minutes.
I've never had that happen once in Austin.
Well, LA.
Yeah,
What the
I'm
argument
arguing
is
data.
that when people see a Waymo and they want to jaywalk, they'll just keep going because they know the Waymo will stop. When Waymo wants to turn left, okay, most people don't know this. I could be wrong, but my understanding is when you're turning left at an intersection, it's illegal to pull into the center of the intersection. You're supposed to wait in the lane until you have an opportunity to go.
Yeah.
Everybody pulls into the middle of the lane so that 3 cars go and then it turns yellow and 3 cars will turn left. Waymo will not. Waymo will stay in the left turn lane and then people will keep blowing past it. And if they're blowing the yellow light, the light will turn red and the Waymo will not go. So we were standing at an intersection. We were standing on, there was an intersection and we were about, half block down. And I'm like, there's the Waymo. And it was like 2 or 3 lights and it wouldn't turn left. Because human drivers were blowing, they would jump through the light at yellow at the last minute and the Waymo couldn't make the turn.
It's interesting if it's how it behaves differently in different cities. And it's also because the drivers in those cities.
That's right.
Yeah, the way it's learning.
Yeah.
From its surroundings. Yeah.
However, the argument is that once they make it illegal to drive cars,
Which they would want to do.
and they're
Yes.
actively trying and they want to get to that point,
Yes.
it's going to be the best driving experience. No, zero traffic. There will never be traffic ever again. All self-driving cars will communicate with each other. So if there's 1 million people on the highway, all the cars can move forward and backwards at the exact same time without fear of collision. And when you're entering the highway, it will reduce all the cars by 1 mile an hour in the back and speed up the ones by a mile an hour, creating spaces. Mm-hmm. That's the argument. As for now, you've got a bunch of cars that suck.
I'm gonna have a horse and carriage.
I don't think they suck. I mean, my experience has been very, very different.
In Austin?
Yes, I'll wait.
When they drop you off, do they like pull into parking lots? Do they?
I'll tell you my bad Waymo experiences. I've had a couple of bad ones, okay? And it's kind of interesting because it shows how like when you have AI, it's smart but also stupid.
Yes.
I think when AI was first started, they tried to get it to learn things. They fed it the encyclopedia, and one of the deductions was that everyone born before 1700 was famous, which makes logical sense, right? But like you can see how I got to that conclusion.
Yeah, of course.
So
Yeah.
the Waymo did. I've had 2 kind of not good experiences. I've used that term very loosely. One is it was stopping across the street from the location, so it looped around the whole block to make that left turn so it could meet in front of me. It wouldn't recognize that I'm just across the street. Another time, someone left the Waymo, left the door open, and it couldn't recognize that the trip was completed. So I had to get in, call someone. They made me leave. They can't reset it if I'm inside.
Yeah.
They're talking to me through the machine. I'm like, I can't hear you. The window's closed. And it went back to where I first started, which was a block away. So, but these are little quirks that I think will be finished within
Remember that guy who was in the parking lot going in circles screaming?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. But this is the kind of thing, like the fact that it's as good as it is now, I think it's kind of miraculous. Like when you look at a video game or social media site, when you have the beta testing, it's rarely this solid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what is cool though is that when you're in the Waymo.
Okay, that's fair.
When you're in the Waymo on the screen, because of all the sensors, it shows you all the traffic.
Yeah.
But other Waymo vehicles are they're highlighted, they're different because it knows them. And I was like, once every car is on the grid or the network, the way they've described it, their end vision, not Waymo specifically, but the the self-driving car industry, everyone will have an Uber app or Lyft or whatever. Each will have a fleet. All the cars from every company communicate with each other. No one will own cars. You'll simply walk outside and you'll be like, I need to go to the store, and you'll hit a button. And within a minute, the car arrives because there's so many cars everywhere, all moving back left to right. It will just pull up, pick you up, and take you where you want to go and drop you off.
How would you feel about
They've actually talked about, get this, self-driving cars with pods, and the pods are transferable. I think this was Mitsubishi, maybe. I can't remember which company. They said you can call a van will come and pull up to your house. You'll load your luggage into the van. It'll drive up. Then it will transport the pod of the van onto a track, which will be pulled by a train up to an airport where the pod will then slide into a plane, and the plane will take off to bring you to your next destination. I don't know that we get there. modular vehicle transport. Self-driving cars already happening.
But I think if we were 5 years ago, we could not have predicted Waymo being as successful as it is now in 5 years.
When was the first time that you were in a self-driving car?
When I had
ago?
the breathing problem, so this is a few months ago.
No, the first time.
This was the first time.
Like a Tesla as well?
Oh no, sorry, I was
Full self-driving.
Tesla is
I
nothing
apologize.
compared to Waymo.
Tesla's self-driving. That
it is,
pretty slow.
but I'm going to tell you, as an owner of several Teslas, you cannot compare Waymo to a self-driving Tesla.
Right?
Why do you think that?
I have a Honda that can self-drive, and it's got what they call lane assist.
Yeah.
So you go on the highway, you press the button, take your hands off the wheel, it'll go. Tesla's a little better than that. It'll actually stop, it'll turn at lights. Waymo has all of the sensors. Like, Tesla can self-drive in a limited capacity with you sitting in the driver's seat, looking forward. But often, like in rain, it disables.
Yeah.
There's numerous instances where it's almost slammed me into vehicles, which is, I'm not kidding. I was in Hagerstown, Maryland, and I was like, I always just press auto drive and then I sit. I got within 2 inches of a car on auto drive and I just jammed the wheel to the left to dodge and went into the wrong, like the oncoming traffic. There was no traffic coming towards me, but I had to go in the other lane to dodge it. And then it goes boom, boom, like a thing pops on the screen saying, you disabled auto drive. What happened?
Hold on. Is it possible that it wasn't working well because there's an Asian driver?
It could be. The AI is like, ooh, this guy.
I can tell. He's passing, but I know.
In my Tesla, there's a highway out here. And it's a state highway that has, I think it's like 4 lanes on each side.
Okay.
It's pretty big. If you want to turn left, you have to pull into the median and stop. I'm going 70 miles an hour on auto drive. This is when my wife is driving. And it slammed the brakes on in the middle of the highway because a truck was sitting in the median.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
And it panicked and thought a car.
Yeah.
It didn't. There's also issues with rural areas where it, like, I scraped a tree because it couldn't tell a tree was there in the dark. There's also a part of the road out here that has collapsed about a foot because it's, we're in the mountains of, Appalachia or whatever. So they're not real big, but they're mountains. And so there's an area by us that goes to a steep drop off and the road on the right side has crumbled a little bit and it fell into it.
Oh, really?
And it went boom and then flipped them. I was like, because it can't see that.
Okay.
Waymo cars have, what do they have? They have sonar, LiDAR. They've got
What's LiDAR?
laser, right?
Oh, is that right? Bless you, Phil.
Detects the ground.
Light? I don't know.
Thank you.
I think it's light. Then there's these cameras are built into the frame, these massive cameras all over the place. Tesla's, my understanding, used to have sonar, and then Elon disabled it saying cameras are better. Yeah, well, when it's raining, I can't self-drive. Waymo is going to be able to drive in the rain. But this is the big challenge because I'll be driving, it'll be raining, it'll say self-driving has been degraded, and then it'll just turn off abruptly. Boom, boom, and then shut off.
You want to hear us? So sometimes I'm sure everyone in this room has had brain farts, and you realize something. You're like, wait a minute, that was stupid. I've been using Waymo for months. In Austin, it's just luck of the draw. It's integrated into Lyft.
Really?
Yeah, you can't use.
Whoa.
I can't just pick Waymo if I want it.
In LA, I had to I had to download the Waymo.
It'll say like, "Hey, you've also matched with the Waymo." It's usually a few minutes more, and I'm like, "Oh, yes." I hit yes so hard my finger breaks, and it took me like a couple of months to realize because I always sit in the passenger seat. It took me a couple months to realize. Wait a minute, my backpack from the gym. I don't have to put it between my legs. I could put it in the driver's seat because no one's there. But I'm so used to like you're the passenger seat. You put your book bag on your feet. Yeah, I was very proud of myself for that one.
Let's jump to this next story, ladies and gentlemen. We have the website No Kings.
That sounds about right, Phil. I like the sound of that.
They've got rallies planned for the 14th. There are thousands that are set up. So I think we have formally 6 official events. You've got.
Can we also agree before I'm sorry to interrupt you, but these are completely astroturfed.
Yes.
Can we all agree on that?
Oh, yeah.
And that's where I'm getting.
Okay, sorry.
You've got Philly.
I apologize. Yeah.
You've got Charlotte. You've got Atlanta, Chicago. You've got Houston. And
That's Charlottesville, you said, or Charlotte? Okay, I thought it said no.
Charles
Okay, you're right.
2.0.
And you've got No Kings Phoenix. But all of these smaller events, Truckee. Look at that one.
Wait, what's no kings mean in this context?
Trump.
Oh,
So they're planning thousands. They even have some in Canada. Here's one in Ottawa.
they don't have kings in Mexico, do they? Not anymore.
Do they have any events in Mexico? They do. Yes.
Wow.
No Kings, Ensenada, Mexico.
What is this even? I'm
just-
sorry,
It's all leftist garbage.
but what is it? I'm sorry.
Whoa, they got
Wait,
all
hold on,
over
hold on. I
Mexico.
gotta say one more
Really should
thing.
be no dad.
Look at this.
I gotta say something. In all seriousness,
Oaxaca.
going from literally Hitler to you're kind of a king, that's kind of an upgrade.
Check this out. So they've got many in Mexico. They've got Mexico City. They've got I can't pronounce
No
it.
tyrants.
What? How do you say that?
That sounds cool.
Ajijic. Ajijic.
I don't know.
It's Ajijic. Malice. So here's the great and Puerto Rico. Don't forget
Nothing in
Puerto
Cuba though.
Rico. Nothing in Cuba. I wonder if there's any else.
Wait, there was
in-
one in the middle, no, in South America.
What? Where?
That's the lake.
Oh, sorry.
It's a lake.
That's like Titicaca.
Oh, all over Europe.
Oh, nice.
Oh, surprisingly,
Who-
over Western Europe too.
Listen, I know that what they're doing is they're creating these as hubs so that anybody who wants to participate can, and they're sending it to activists in the region to inform other activists. The event.
And also you get their email addresses and you get
But
these
here's the
lists.
question. This is remarkably expensive to organize mass protests in several countries, 4 different countries, thousands across the United States, it appears. This is institutional level organizing for anti-Trump protests.
You know who is probably behind this? Soros.
Alex?
Yeah,
There's got to be Soros money. I bet you.
Probably.
yeah. I mean, that's generally
Yeah.
the guy that's
Vegas.
This is
involved with
completely
these.
AstroTurf. This is very corporate. This is not organic.
Right. It's not the yellow vests.
Yeah, right. Yes. Yeah.
They did their thing, and that felt organic.
But people show up to these things.
But okay,
They do.
I feel. I'm sorry. I'm asking a dumb question, and I apologize in advance. Not because it's dumb. The question. The answer is going to be dumb. Is there a point that no one should ever be deported from anywhere?
No, their point is they
Yes.
just want. You think it is?
When we had a liberal woman on the show,
You mean Phil?
no.
Excuse me.
She said that one of the things that Trump did that's bad was that he forced trans people to put their gender marker on their passports, meaning if they travel to other countries, they'll be killed. And I said, what right does an American have to lie on documents to enter a foreign country in violation of their laws? And she said they have the liberty to do so. The actual view of these liberals, which is just an amorphous term for the left ideology, is that we have a right to enter any country we want, and anybody has a right to enter our country whenever they want, and no one can be removed.
I think the title "No Kings"
Oh my
says a lot because it's like I think these riots are for immigrants as much as BLM riots were for Black lives.
It says
It's an
it,
excuse to
Do you know
be
what?
anti-Trump.
I'm sorry. I got to give these people credit. This is really smart because this is as close I've seen in the last 10 years to lefties draping themselves in the American flag. Because this is the kind of thing patriots say.
yeah.
Like that is like right wing.
Well, they're also reportedly
slogan.
right now. The rumor going around is that in LA, organizations are handing out American flags to protesters because they understand the Mexican flag is very bad.
I had Destiny on my show, and one of the smartest things he said, it goes, "It's absolutely insane that Democrats don't wave the American flag. The best country on earth. This alienates voters. What the hell are you thinking?" And he's absolutely correct.
Yeah, I mean, it alienates your average normie American that doesn't want to be a self-hating person.
To the nth degree.
Yeah, like you cannot expect to say, hey, your country has done all of these bad things to a normal person that just goes to work and does normie stuff, right? And then expect them to be like, oh, you're right. Let me, get the cat of nine tails and whip myself and feel bad and I should change everything in my life. You're not going to get normal people to do that. They're going to say, F you, I'm going to go do whatever it is that I want to do with my family, my friends, whatever.
And I remember it was 2008, 2012. There was a rumor that Michelle Obama's like thesis or something like that had some kind of anti-American stuff. And she came out at the Democratic convention and she opened her speech with, "My name is Michelle Obama and I love America." Like she couldn't wait to drape herself in the flag, and they won.
Right.
Yes.
That's the winning move.
They're great at lying.
They don't love America though.
Right.
They love their version. Yeah, I disagree. I think Michelle Obama loves her. America's done her very well. She loves her vision of America.
She says she's a victim though.
You could be a victim, and you could. What if you're a
I
bad
don't-
wife?
But she makes it sound like America has victimized her. So I
I
don't
don't-
know if she really. loves
I
this country.
think I'll defend her. I'm sure being first lady to that presidency was not a fun experience for her.
especially as a trans person.
I don't think she did not seem to be enjoying herself.
No.
I don't imagine that very, very many first ladies will, in the future, will enjoy that.
I think
Jill had
Melania
fun.
likes it. I think Jill loved
Think
it. Jill loved
She was
it.
president.
Jill was.
Jill loved it.
Jill was
Hillary loved
president.
it. Hillary loved it. Nancy Reagan loved it.
Oh, yeah, Hillary for
It's
sure.
a mix.
That's back in the day. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to become. The reason I say that is I think it's going to become more and more difficult for the spouse of the president to endure the scrutiny that social media puts on.
And especially because they have to bite their tongue because they're not elected. I agree with you, Phil.
Which is why Melania. I mean, Melania doesn't spend as much time in the White House this time as she did the first time, and a lot of it is because of the scrutiny that people put on you. And it goes, for the left and the right. I'm sure that people can say, oh, Melania got it worse than Michelle. And I would actually say I don't think Melania has gotten it worse than Michelle.
Should we check on the book listing?
Yes,
Do
we
we
should.
rank? Should we look?
Pull it up, see what you got. While you're doing that, I've got the toolkit for this event. They're saying what to know. They say you want to register to be a host. Don't register an event in D.C. They are concerned about Trump's upcoming military parade and they don't want to conflict with it, which is, I think, the funniest thing imagined about their No Kings protest. Like, whoa, guys, we're not actually going to protest Trump's event. That'd be protesting a king. Yeah. He's a king, but we'll protest somewhere else.
Let the king have his parade.
Yeah.
We have one review, and I want to thank this person.
5 out of 5.
The reviews, 5 out of 5, and they, God bless you, whoever you are. I wish you gave me your name because I would have followed. They go, this book did not adequately explain why I was blocked on X. So if I knew who this was, I would not only unblock you, I would follow you. But head over to notsickofwinning.com and let's see if we get this book to rank.
That's great.
But I'm not getting a number at all for now.
That's hilarious.
That is hilarious.
Hope
Sorry,
they reach
go
out and get a follow back.
That's a great review.
It's a great review. I want to give the person
Do you know where you're at or how many?
Doesn't give me a number, no.
Say.
Is there an audiobook or
Not on
Everybody, you got to go to notsickofwinning.com.
.com.
Buy the book. I'm impressed. 100 chapters outlining each day of Trump's presidency, and you said they're all good.
All in a row.
Not a single bad day.
The worst day that was I have in there because I had to stretch for this one was when they gave out the Epstein files.
Oh,
Yeah.
But
still, it was a good day.
it was a good day because at least it recognized that it's still on his mind. So that was the one where I had to stretch. But everything else, it was win after win after win. We forget. Remember, I had this tweet. I go, I'm over Trump. It's been 2 days and no judge has been arrested. Because there were like 2 judges in 2 days. It was crazy.
It's
it's really it's scary in a sense, but not really. The Democrats understand something about controlling stupid people for power, that there is a reality that stupid people want to be controlled, or at the very least, they're unwilling to break from the ideology.
Henry H.L. Mencken, I quote this all the time, said 100 years ago, the average man does not want to be free. He simply wants to be safe.
Yeah.
And Fox, for weeks, has been like, the Democrats are dead. There's no way coming back. I'm like, it's not even the first quarter of his term. This is the oldest political party on earth. If you just look today, I ratioed.
It's the oldest political party on earth?
Yes, the Democratic Party.
Really?
Yes, and that doesn't happen by accident.
No, but you mean in America, like no
On
other.
Earth. Yes, the oldest continuous. Like there's other parties that existed before, but they're all dead.
Wow.
So
No
that
one's
doesn't-
persisted?
No one's persisted like the Democratic Party, and that doesn't happen by accident. And I just saw this today. They launched a new. Go look it up. They launched a new live stream on their YouTube. And they went from having Officer Harris, who is a mentally handicapped biracial woman. The woman running it, who's their communications director, is an Aryan superwoman. You would think she comes from an alt-right meme. It's insane. I'm like, do I have to hide in an attic? Because the second DEI is a problem for them, they're going to throw people under the bus and search for those suburban white votes.
They're good at rebranding.
They're very good at
and they know
rebranding.
that their base is susceptible to that.
The second oldest party is
The Biden party,
Conservative UK Party.
the Tories.
Descended from the Tories. So while technically, I was thinking right away, like, wouldn't the Tories be? But
They're the 1830s, I think, right?
the Tories are considered to have become defunct around 1834, evolving into the Conservative Party, which was formally founded in 1834.
Yeah.
So it's similar, but in that respect, the Democratic Party is similar. I love this. Do you know what preceded the Democratic and the Republican parties?
It was the Federalists and the Democratic Republicans.
The Democratic Republican Party.
Yeah, the Jeffersons. Yeah.
That's funny. And they were like, let's cut it in half and go to war with each other for hundreds of years.
Well, they did because
I know.
it was the era of good feelings. The Federalists were destroyed, and then you had the two wings. This is the other thing that's really kind of drives me crazy about conservative media. We're like, we have to defeat the Democrats. Like, do you think the Democratic Party goes away? All those lefty voters are just going to start voting pro-life.
Right.
There's still millions of them. What are you going to do? They're still going to vote. In a way
Yes,
you don't
but
like.
In a first past the post voting system,
Sure.
the effective winning strategy is to create 6 different political parties and then neatly sort them and make them fight each other.
Sure.
Then you can never lose, even if you have a minority government.
Right. And we see that in UK to some extent.
So there's going to be, open borders leftists, and there's going to be Bernie Sanders national capitalists. It's the World Socialist website called Bernie Sanders a nationalist capitalist.
Yeah.
Because he believes that we should close the borders and that workers can make money. And they were like, no, he's wrong. So you make those leftists fight each other. They form 2 different factions. Now you only need 33% to win.
Do you know what else I think is going to start happening? I think increasingly the LGBT coalition is going to fall apart.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because of the trans issue.
These gay men, who many of them are high testosterone, even either naturally or through pharmaceutical means, are increasingly going to be like, I have nothing to do with this.
Yep.
And they all have a lot of money because they don't have kids, and they have a lot of clout because a lot of times they're very powerful. Watch, that's going to happen.
Yeah. That's something that we've talked about a lot is the fact that one of the things that the left has done is tried to tell regular American men, hey, you have to accept that this man that is a man is telling you that they're a woman. You not only have to accept that, if you don't accept it and embrace it and behave as if they are a woman, that might include dating them, then you are a bigot.
You had your turn.
Yeah.
Now you have to listen to
It
us.
is, and you were never going to get people to get on board with that.
Gay men are the new
group-
straight males.
What?
It's like gay men are the new straight males to the Democratic Party, just like Larry Elder was the blackface of
Spoken like a
supremacy.
true invert.
But look,
Something I learned tonight. Thank you.
women might assent to that, but men are not going to.
Yeah.
Like
Didn't-
women
don't-
might be like,
It's certainly
don't
not
you
be
know
behind the privacy
anything,
of the
you
ballot-
guys?
of the ballot box. What?
yes.
You want to read that, Michael? No?
I don't.
Who wants to read it?
Straight men are the
No,
white,
no, no.
not
But,
Get it right, Phil.
Phil can't read. Phil
straight-
can't read.
oh, my bad. Straight black men are the white people of black people.
did you not
It
know
feels
that?
counterintuitive to suggest that straight black men as a whole possess any sort of privilege. But
This is from 2017.
Wait,
They
can I
do.
actually make a correction?
This is the root.com.
It would be straight black women, because straight black women are more successful than straight black men. They go to college at higher rates. They earn more income. So if you're going to say someone's the white people, black people, it'd be straight black women.
No. Because men are oppressors. It doesn't matter if they're more
It
successful.
doesn't say men. It says white people.
Yes.
So
Women can't be oppressors.
do they mean oppressors? Or do they mean successful?
This is what they're talking about. They're talking about privilege.
Oh Jesus.
the
Right.
white people of black
No,
people.
but still, straight black women have the most privilege. Who has the most privilege?
Women can't have more privilege than men. Therefore, men are always going to be the oppressor.
Because the man is
Even though they go to they're incarcerated. I mean, if you look at black men going to jail versus black women, it's
Now,
just-
hold on.
it doesn't
If
matter.
the straight black man later comes to decide that he is a woman, now he is no longer a white person.
I think you might be incorrect, because in black communities that stuff doesn't fly. They're the least pro-trans, least pro-gay.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah.
Oh, you go to Chicago and watch these Snapchats where one guy calls the other guy gay and see what happens. Like they go and shoot buildings up. It's crazy. They don't. It's wild that the left wants to inject that into the black community, and they ain't having it.
Black people are not inherently by nature they're not any more inherently Democrat than white people are.
They might be more Democrat, but they're not progressives in the
not.
college sense.
That's true. That's
It's
true.
very much a white phenomenon. I remember I used to watch Kathy Griffin's show when it was funny, and this is when gay marriage was on the ballot in California.
Yeah.
But it was like, do you want to not ban gay? It was like worded weird. And she knocked at this black lady's house, like middle class woman. And the woman's like, no, I'm against. She goes, oh, she's like, people are confused because it's worded weird. She goes, I'm not confused. I'm against it. And she closed the door in Kathy's face. Kathy like moves to kick the door. I'm like, the condescension
Yeah.
of this woman who has a job, a nice house, and you're talking to her like she's Phil who doesn't know how to read.
It's like remember that viral video that went around at the beginning of them doing the vaccine mandates, and they went around to like a lot of black neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And they were like, what? Why? Trust the
Tuskegee?
science. Right. Yeah. They don't know about that. I mean, the black neighborhoods
Right.
do, but the person with the microphone does not.
And also you remember 5 years ago we were told Monsanto is going to kill us all, and now you're saying Monsanto's our savior. Stick to the script.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
Let's jump.
Go ahead.
Let's jump to the next story from Politico.
I love this.
Quote, You essentially destroyed any chance I have. DNC chair told David Hogg in private meeting. And what they omit from the headline is that apparently he was on the verge of tears. Should we play this?
Oh, we got to play it.
And I'll say, look, it has plenty of warts, and we're all trying to change those for sure. But the longer we continue this fight, the harder it is for us to actually do what we all want to do, which is make a difference in this country again. So I deeply respect you, David. I too was looking forward to working with you, but
we got to break this down. I'm sorry. We got to break this down step by step.
What's going on?
For Ken Martin, who's the head of the Democratic Party, to talk to this 25-year-old with what Gavin McInnes calls Grover arms, who has had no track record of getting anyone elected or doing anything. I mean, it'd be one thing if we're talking about Michelle Obama, if we're talking about like some of these big powerhouses who bring out the vote or raise money in Hollywood, whatever. Steven Spielberg, I'm sure he raised a ton for these candidates. This is David Hogg.
Yeah.
And you're a grown man bending the knee, getting buck broken by David Hogg.
They're afraid of the public perception more than the power.
I don't. They're cooked.
Yeah.
But I don't understand how anyone would talk to David. You know what you do if this guy's messing up your job? You sit him down and you're like, boy, I'm going to teach you how we do things here in Washington, and I don't know how they do things in Florida, but you're going to learn a lesson today. Has he not ever watched like House of Cards?
Squeal like a pig.
Am I wrong though?
I think that the people
That's insane, yeah.
I think the people like Ken are really on the outs in the Democrat Party because of their identity. And so, granted, he's talking to another white male, but I think that fair enough. But I think that if he were to try to intimidate him, a lot of the people that are in the party would jump to David's defense.
I agree with you. That's fair, but there's a difference between intimidating and like getting on your knees.
Look, well, let's play the tape. Let's roll tape. Here we go.
Yeah, twice.
It's created a situation, and I'll be very honest with you, for the first time in my 100 days on this job, and Jessica knows this, the other night I said to myself for the first time, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And partly not because of the stress and all the naysayers, right?
I just want to take this opportunity to thank David Hogg for absolutely just gutting the DNC, but let's
He did.
I'm used to that. I've spent 14 years as a chair. I'm used to getting beat up on. But, you know, this is really everything, you know, from this election, this credentials report, and how Malcolm's been treated in this, to you know, the fact the election itself, how Shasti and Gina were treated in this. I'm just quite frustrated to be in this position, because what you've done, whether you like it or not, or know it or not, David, is no one knows who the hell I am. Right.
Oh, we don't know.
I'm trying to get my sea legs underneath of me and actually develop any amount of credibility so I can go out there and raise the money and do the job I need to put ourselves in a position to win. And again, I don't think you intended this, but you essentially destroyed any chance I have to show the leadership that I need to.
There's 10 seconds left.
I'll finish it, please.
So it's really frustrating.
He's crying.
He's crying.
That was it. Wait, last.
Gene.
Here you go. One more time.
Yeah, can we slow it down to half speed?
That I need to.
Your ringtone.
Here, wait.
So it's really frustrating.
You can hear him breaking down, right?
Yeah.
Here.
You can.
Here you go.
That I need to.
Thank you.
So it's really frustrating.
Oh man, it's a shame.
He's not wrong.
No, it's not.
There's this great quote where you knew it was a snake when you picked it up.
Yeah.
David Hogg's interesting promoting David Hogg. For people who don't know the background to this, David Hogg said he's taking Democratic money from the Democratic Party and running leftists against careerist, centrist Democrats.
Well, haven't you ever heard the story? There's a frog. He's by the edge of the water, and a scorpion comes up and says, "Please, Mr. Frog, won't you help me cross this river?" And the frog says, "No, because you'll certainly sting me and I'll die." And the scorpion says, "Why would I do that? We'll both die if that happens. So you can clearly give me a ride across the water." So the frog agrees. The scorpion gets on its back, and then halfway across the river, the scorpion stings the frog, and the frog says, "Why did you do that? Now we're gonna die." To which the scorpion responds, "LMFAO, ha 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 ha, LOL."
Well, it's really such is my nature.
That's not the meme. The meme is LMFAO.
I told that story. This is a fascinating addendum to that story. I told that story to my guide in North Korea. and she didn't know what a scorpion was. I'm like, okay, maybe she doesn't know the word. So I'm like, okay, it's like this lobster lives in the desert. No clue. I draw it. No clue. And and then you think about how many ways you know what a scorpion is: the zodiac, nature shows, TV, and you realize, wait a minute, in their country, if it doesn't exist, there's no need for them to know, so they don't teach it to them. And it was really a mind-blowing moment because she knew what 9/11 was, and she's like, of course I know what that is, but a scorpion, nothing.
There you go. Wow. Don't you know the meme?
I don't.
But now we shall both surely drown, said the frog. LOL, said the scorpion. LMAO.
Wow.
I like to think this version of it's a little bit better because it's funny, but it also adds to the depravity of the scorpion. Like, it doesn't care that it dies so long as you are in pain and you'll be hurt.
But getting back to Hogg, it's like you guys.
That's what he's doing.
You guys brought him in. What did you think was going to happen? Did you not think he was going to ride this DNC role to like make himself something and be this? He's this dishonest, power-hungry freak whose only clout is just, promoting himself. He's not at all interested in building a party. And I'm sorry, the Democrats really need someone who's going to put in the work, rebuild, if that's what they want to do to regain the presidency.
Not him.
Not him. He's 25.
And remember what he said was he was going to take $20 million or whatever, start primarying Democrats.
Right, that's what I just said, yeah.
And they're like, why are you going to war with us as DNC chair running a super PAC that takes donations to go against the candidates we're trying to come together to help?
I love it. It's the best. I love the fact that David Hogg is destroying the Democrat Party.
There's a saying, right? There are two wolves inside of you.
Right, yeah. And one's David Hogg.
And one is David Hogg. Which one succeeds? The one you feed. So they have, listen, in all seriousness, though, to use that analogy, the Democrats have fostered smarmy, cult-like people with no principles.
I'm right here.
Who are desperate for attention and fame. And this is what the party has turned into. And they're like, well, I can't believe what we are becoming under people like you, David. What do you mean? You told people principle doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Adherence to the cult is what matters. Fame, celebrity, getting followers by pushing out lies. The Democratic Party lies all day. They've been lying for a decade about who Trump is and what Trump does, and they have born and bred David Hogg. He is the perfect manifestation of the modern Democratic Party. And I say, bravo, the slime monster from underneath the subways in New York City has finally emerged and taken over your party.
I'm sorry, no. Slime monsters are tough and scary. And
no, it's a Ghostbusters reference. Don't you know the Ghostbusters reference?
They're scary.
No, the ooze was growing under the New York subway because people were being crappy to each other.
Right.
And it started to ooze out of the ground, and the evil energy resurrected the guy in the painting.
Yeah, that's
David Hogg.
David Hogg has nothing. Has nothing in that guy. That Baron. That's my
Not
point.
the Baron, the slime.
Neither. I'm sorry. Who would you rather see in an alley, the slime or David Hogg? It's a joke. He's not threatening. That's my point. This guy can, make David Hogg look alpha. Like, that is a Christmas miracle.
True that.
He made it sound like David Hogg bent over his wife and made him watch.
I do.
As I told him on Twitter today.
I do wonder how it is that David Hogg has managed to get into the position that he's
I don't get
in.
it.
Victim
David
class.
Hogg is
It's a
100
victimhood
pounds
currency.
soaking wet.
There are so many leftists. I had Joey there's like 3 people in my life who I met who, after I met them, I was infinitely more impressed by them. And one of them was Joey Salads. You had him on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was running for Congress, and I'm like, I'm just going to clown this guy.
Joey Salads?
Yeah.
You ran for Congress?
Yeah, he ran against, he went to primary Nicole something in Staten Island. And he came on
That's right.
And he came on my show, and I was ready to clown him, and he goes, I don't know about any of this stuff. All I know is social media, and Republicans need someone knows that, like AOC for the Democrats. I'm like, oh, okay. This guy's completely self-aware and gets it. I was so impressed by him, and if they had that would be something they want. David Hogg's not that.
No, he's all of the bad things of the Democratic Party incarnate.
Right.
These are the things they've championed.
Right.
He's this smarmy kid who rushes to be on TV.
Right.
Tries to play the victim so that he can get attention.
Has nothing clever
Just
to
like
say.
Parkland. Like he's their token.
He doesn't. If the man either ate a cheeseburger or lifted it, he might actually have some weight on his body.
Right.
He's
But
their
he doesn't.
token-
He doesn't even have the energy to do that.
He's their token victim because of the gun control thing. And since he's a survivor,
That's also
why they
been a
trot him
losing
around.
issue for them.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's why they got
if
rid
there's
of him.
one issue that it really is just winning endlessly, it's guns.
Yes.
Right. I think 26 states are like permitless carry in some capacity.
Beautiful.
Some capacity.
There's that GIF I post all the time on Twitter where it just shows year by year how it gets better and better.
Yep.
It's such a white pill.
He'll rebrand for abortion next because he looks like a fetus.
I wouldn't be surprised, but there's so many of the Democrats' core message or issues that just aren't popular with people. The LGBT stuff is no longer popular with people. Clearly, the immigration position that they've taken is not popular with people. They've left the working class entirely. The working class has gone over to MAGA. That's generally where the working class is now in the U.S. The Democrats, not only are they in a position where they don't have any leaders, but they don't even have any policy positions that are popular with the American.
You know who should have David Hog's position? Jasmine Crockett.
Yes.
She knows how to get heat.
Yes.
She's aggressive. She stands for these issues. You can easily see her fundraising being like, look, all these Republicans are attacking me. I'm the one taking the fight to them. I'm not scared. I fight dirty. Okay. I can see someone writing her a check. Hog?
I can't imagine.
I don't get it. And I'm sure they had their meetings where they're like, we need young white men. But like, just because you need young white men doesn't mean David Hogg's the one who's going to deliver them.
You need to listen to Carville is what you need.
That's right.
To listen
That's
to.
right.
He was as clear and concise about David Hogg and how bad David Hogg is for the Democrats
he said that?
as a man can be. Yeah, he was really critical of
very
Hogg.
shrewd. He's very shrewd.
He is. Like whether or not you appreciate the Democrats, like Carville is on it when
There's
it comes to.
so many Democrats who know how to get heat.
Yeah.
And fundraise and attention. And that's what you need in a position like this.
You're totally right about Crockett too.
She's a performer. She's a great performer.
100%.
People, it's really funny when conservatives think Jasmine Crockett is a moron. Did none of you grow up watching pro wrestling? Like she's the perfect wrestling heel.
That's all politics is.
Right. But no, people think
gets it.
But a lot of viewers don't.
You know what really annoys me is that we have people on the show who say, "Oh, that dumb ghetto,"
That's what I'm
blah,
saying.
blah, blah. And I'm like, you know, that's not true, right?
It's completely an act.
And it's frustrating because I'm like, you are giving her exactly what she asked for. She is an educated personality who's on camera saying, you know, after the retirement of the previous congresswoman, they approached me and said, will you do it? And I said yes. And now look, they're talking like this. And they asked her recently, why do you talk like that? And she was like, that's just how I talk. I don't even think I just talk like that. It's like, no, you don't. We all heard you when you were in college talking about wanting to go to Congress. It's smart though.
It's very smart.
Yeah.
And it works because
And they'll just say she's code switching.
right. And conservatives fall for it every time.
Yep.
They don't have a really good imagination.
They just there's a lot of people on all sides of the political spectrum who think their television's a window or it's a screen, and they think they're looking at reality. It's like even when you're watching a movie or reality TV, it's edited. This is not directly a window, people.
Television is a stage. It's not.
Yes, it's just brilliantly put. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Trump was born out of WWE, the Trump we know.
Oh yeah, for
Like,
sure.
he straight up, Vince McMahon kind of created that.
Oh my! I was just thinking about my favorite Trump moments on The Apprentice. Did you guys used to watch that show?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! The best moment. I think it was All Stars. So the finale was Penn Jillette versus Trace Atkins, who's a country singer.
Yeah.
Penn ran the table on him, just like blew him out of the water. Trace was like half asleep.
But what's the point of the show? Like, what were they doing?
Whoever raises more money gets $1 million bonus for their charity. So, and Penn Jillette was playing for Opportunity Village. I give them a shout out. They give jobs to handicapped people, so they have like something to do, and it gives them pride. I think it's a great organization. From what I know about, they made Elvis's jumpsuits. So it's the two of them. Penn's about to win, and Trump goes, live finale. Hey, Penn, I just saw this interview recently where a few years ago you basically said I was a moron, blah, blah, blah. Do you still feel that way? And Penn's like, and Trump's like, great. Trace, you're hired. It was the most Trump thing ever. It was amazing.
That's great.
Just to let him know you lost because of that.
Donald Trump is
Maybe I can
one
find
of the
that.
best showmen in American history. He's
The other really crazy one was when he had Khloe Kardashian on. And she's up for elimination. And he's like, Chloe, you were like a drunk driver. He's like, I hate drunk drivers. You're terrible. You're fired. And it's like, why'd you cast her to begin with? It's not like she drunk drive during the show.
Just to do that.
It was so weird.
man.
Yeah, it was great.
Was it when they were on stage? Is that what
It was on stage. Yeah.
Okay, I think I have the video.
Oh, it was the finale.
Maybe not.
No, this is not. This is the boardroom.
This is the boardroom.
I think. Yeah, this looks like the boardroom.
Well, they're on stage.
yeah, this is it. This is it.
This is it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Celebrity Apprentice is
Oh wait, that's the end. Though.
Ah,
It's right
okay.
before. It'll be right before
Before?
this. Right.
So I don't know how to
It was
find that.
2 minutes before it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
drag.
Let's see what I
It
can
was
muster
so
up.
funny.
That's a shame that that Penn Jillette let his mouth get in the way, and then
Well, he didn't think he was going to come back.
I mean, well, how long ago did he?
No, so they did it once. They did All Stars.
Oh,
so
okay.
He brought him back for All Stars, and that was the
he
one.
said it after.
No, he said before All Stars, after his first run.
Oh, okay. Yes.
You know what I mean?
All right.
So it's like
Well,
you can't really blame him. And it was also really funny. The All Stars, Brett Michaels came back, and in the boardroom, he was the first one up for elimination. And Trump's like, "You won already. Why are you back here? You're fired." It's like, but you brought him back. Like, what are you doing? It was so weird. And Brett, this is really crazy. He had he had first pick, and he picked Omarosa to be on his team. Because like better the devil you know, and it's like she just eviscerated him. But it's also like, why did Trump bring her in for his first term? Mm-hmm. It was so bizarre.
I like Brett Michaels too.
Oh, I have a lot of stories about him.
YouTube
I
search
almost did
is
his book.
Really?
I'll tell you after off air.
Yeah, please.
YouTube
He's
sucks.
a good guy, a very good guy,
That I like to hear that. He seems like a good guy.
very big heart, very good guy.
The people that I know.
I stopped using YouTube for search for videos, and now I just use X because almost always you can find the video on X somewhere. YouTube search, when I search for any combination, it just gives me news outlets, The Hill,
Yeah.
Really?
KTNV,
I'm not.
or
getting
it's giving me movie clips. It's
Googling
giving me
things.
nothing related. Interviews with Penn Jillette is nothing related to The Apprentice or Trump. YouTube used to be a way you could find
Yes,
stuff,
of course.
but they're concerned about rights. You can't search for the clips.
Well, while people do that, head on over to notsickofwinning.com and buy the new book. Let's Get It Done on Amazon. But I'm not getting a ranking, and I don't understand why. So I guess this shows the internet's a failure. And we should all go buy books through Simon & Schuster like good people.
The internet's dead, though.
Dead internet theory.
Yeah, dead internet.
That is true.
There's only 3 people that have actually heard us say that because all the people that are watching that are in the chat, they're all bots.
What was the other? There was another. That show was really, really good. I encourage people, if you're bored, to go back and watch it. It's very, very Trumpy. It's very well done.
Oh man, we can. Well, I guess we're super close to going to chat, so I won't pull up one of these last stories. But
Okay,
we'll
let's
just
do
say that Trump is funny. No, we don't have time to pull up another story. It'll go long.
Okay.
So we'll just patter for another 20 seconds before we go into.
Well, I want everyone to. Can I ask a question for people?
Yes.
Do you guys agree or disagree that Trump over-delivered in his first 100 days for what you expected?
Yeah.
I disagree.
Do you? Let's hear it.
I just feel like I'm not getting the retribution I wanted.
I'll take that answer.
I disagree.
I like Trump, and I think he's hilarious, but I'm not so happy with Cash. I'm not so happy.
Okay.
But why not?
I just think they're all lying and full of it right now. And
About
the
Epstein?
Rogan interview, I mean, Rogan could even tell that he was lying.
Well, let me.
just seems like they're pulling one
Let me
over
tell you
on
this
us.
because I've mentioned this several times, but not to you, Michael. You heard what Cash and Dan said about
Yes.
Epstein,
The hostage video, yeah.
and Cash said that there's no way in or out of that prison. There's no, and so, they have the video. You know what the very simple, logical response would be to Cash Patel?
What?
Then how did you find the body?
Sure.
If no one went in or out, did the body just rot until it smelled bad?
But here's the other thing. Even if he, in a literal sense, did end himself, how was he allowed to do so? No one.
Sure.
Paper thin bed sheets.
Right. That's what
They're supposed to tear.
But how is he not under surveillance? That's what makes sense.
The point is, Cash said there's no way in or out. We have everything on camera. No one went in or out. So he killed himself. And it's like, well, somebody went in to check on him.
I will say-
and then that person went, "Hey, look, a dead body." Usually, when that happens, that's a suspect.
There's executive orders that I like the gain of function stuff.
Sure.
A lot of the Maha stuff, but it hasn't even been codified yet.
Sure.
So I'm more mad at Congress.
Sure.
But it's
I'm going to defend him on this. People have a lot of expectations when you have a one-seat majority. I mean, there's 5 of us in a room. Imagine 435 of us trying to argue everything. That's really hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
No. The problem is Mike Johnson. The problem is always the speaker. And I can only assume, because it always happens, that you become Speaker of the House, you walk in, and there's a lizard holding a laser gun, and he goes, "Now you will do as we say." Because it doesn't, I can't, they were censuring, what's his face, Al Green, is that the guy's name?
Yes.
And he starts singing, and he's like, order, stop singing. More Democrats come in and start singing in the well of the House, and he goes, "Adjourned." No. You know what I would have done? You want to know what I would have done, Michael?
Skateboard?
Sergeant at Arms, arrest all of the individuals in the well right now in contempt of Congress. Lock them up.
I don't think he wants to cross that Rubicon.
I
don't blame
Democrats
him.
have.
Well,
They've
you know
not
what?
arrested Republicans en masse in Congress.
They've tried assassinating Trump and
Sure, but that's not literally the same.
lawfare for
Sure.
4 years.
They arrested Trump's lawyers.
Yes.
I just don't care. Like, we had this liberal guy on Friday.
He has to care. because he has to raise money from corporations and things.
Well,
That's
you
the
know,
problem.
there you go. I'm
systemic,
sitting
my
here.
point.
We had this liberal guy on the show, and he said, I saw what you said to Adam Conover about the Very Fine People hoax, where Trump said, not the neo-Nazis and white nationalists. And this guy, it's brilliant sophistry. He says, but Trump knew who was organizing it. So to defend it is tantamount. He said, so when he says they were very fine people, what, the small handful that went to the Nazis rally? I don't buy it. And I don't care. That my response to your argument is I literally don't care. The American people know Trump didn't say that. I don't care to even refute what you're saying because it's sophistry. We are at the point now where we don't need Mike Johnson or anybody else to be like, well, slow down there, Democrats. We're adjourned. I'm going to go raise money. We need someone to. Sorry, if I was Speaker of the House and they were all singing, I'd be like, I'd start laughing. I'd pull up my phone and film it. I'd selfie, live stream and say, check this out. Sergeant at Arms, make the arrest. There we go. That's an insurrection. They're obstructing an official proceeding.
I think you think the speaker has a lot more power than they do.
He can order the sergeant at arms to remove people from
saying, I know there's things people can do in a literal sense, but there's also things like what you can get away with. Here's another one.
Yeah, I don't care.
Well, I think he has to care if he wants to remain in power. Here's another example. During 2020, Trump got a lot of heat over COVID, and we remember those days, all of us, pretty vividly. And it's my position, I bet everyone in this room agrees, if he had been much more resistant at the beginning, he would have been impeached and removed and put in jail.
Yeah.
That's how crazy people were at the beginning.
You know, let me say this.
And that's not to defend him bending the knee to Fauci, but I'm just saying people have a lot less leeway in politics than we tend to think that they do.
I somewhat agree, but it's actually an issue of someone's belief in themselves.
Sure.
So, for example, any person at any time can choose to walk backstage at a Taylor Swift concert and walk up and meet Taylor Swift if they want.
Try to.
No, they can. They really can. And my point is, people believe that there are limitations, and sometimes there are not. For instance,
I gave you the secret, and you took it serious.
Sure. We've all seen the TV show where the guy carries a ladder, and it's an all-access pass to any venue anytime he wants. My point is, Mike Johnson is thinking, probably, there's nothing I can do about this because I am concerned about what may happen.
Sure.
The reality is, the people who win in this world are those who are willing to walk up and shake the hand of the president and say, nice to meet you, sir. And the people who sit back and say, I can't do that,
wait, hold on.
are left behind.
I agree with that broadly speaking. I'll give you proof. In 2003, an email went out from Ted Hope from Focus Features. Harvey Picar's in town with nothing to do. If you want to hang out with him, this is your chance. I was the only person who took him up on this, and he wrote a graphic novel about me and launched my career, right? If you work at that company and you have work, meet Harvey and then stay in an hour later, right? But I don't think people, I think we all have a very Plato's cave vision of how Washington really works. And I don't think any of us really knows what, like you said with the lizard person. Right. When someone becomes speaker, I'm sure he gets sat down. He's like, all right, there's also the deep state. We didn't know what they have on these. Look at Hoover, how much he ran the government for years. Mm-hmm. So
I do think, because people are saying, why did that video where Dan Bongino said he killed himself?
Right.
Everybody pointed out the way he said it. He killed himself. Like it was. It wasn't the bold and brave Dan Bongino looking at the camera. And
also, Bongino didn't acknowledge, I know what I used to say, but I know how this looks.
But he should have. Like, even if...
That's the point.
But look. Even if... Listen, if I was in my bedroom and you knocked on my door and there's a guy behind me with a gun in my back saying, tell him everything's all right, I wouldn't go, everything's all right. I'd be like, I'm good. What do you need? It'd be like, is something wrong? I'd be like, I'm chilling. I'm going to bed, man. I got to go.
Yeah.
I wouldn't... So if you went and got into the FBI and a lizard person said, now you lie about Epstein, he would just say, guys, I really believed all this stuff. The moment I got in, they showed me the videos, they showed me the files. He didn't sell it.
Cash's Rogan appearance made it worse.
It did.
And I like
Cash.
testimony.
I still do like
I was like, this is great, but that was weird. I mean, he didn't know key things.
I'm going to say it again. Well, to be fair, the cameras were not down. I don't know why people really believe that a camera was down. And that matters.
I thought they were both down.
There are a bunch of cameras showing the hallways. I've gone over the archived articles, not like from back then. There was a camera that was down. And so, but Cash said, I didn't hear about the camera going down. A lot of people are saying all the cameras were down. And then some people are saying there were none. There was like one.
Which about the hyoid bone.
I thought it was two. That was my impression.
None of this matters.
Right.
What matters is he said no one could have gotten in or out. There's no other ways in. And again, I just go, who found the body?
Right.
Like, clearly there was a person there. So that statement of no one got it out is like a weird nonsense statement, unrelated at all. And there were paramedics pulling the body out. Okay, then they're the suspects. Come on. If people don't believe this, so did you investigate the people who found the body?
Right.
Who called it in?
I think they found out he's in witness protection.
Did the guards call it in? Who called it
He's
in?
still alive?
I do.
Because here's the other thing. I talked to us on Rogan. We never saw Perp walk. Isn't that weird?
No.
Right. I mean, he was treated
Epstein?
well the first time he was in prison.
Well, when they carted his body off.
No, I mean Perp walk.
know,
After he died. I meant when he was arrested.
But you know that when his body was removed, you could see his face, and people compared the body head to the head of Epstein, and they were like drawing the ears. And
Same with like Luigi Mangione. They say it's not the same guy in the video.
I don't think
I think it might not have been, dude. Those two pictures are different.
When this is the Luigi Mangione thing it's an insane story. People get mad at me about it, but I'll say it again. When that story broke, I said this guy's got to be in his late 40s, early 50s, based on the skin tone, how the cold affected his hands. You can see thin brows. He's wearing a black coat with a black bag. Then they posted a picture of Luigi wearing a green jacket with a beige bag or something like that, and everyone said this is the suspect. And me, because I'm cognitive of litigation, knows what you can or cannot say. And my immediate response was, no. They said it's a person of interest. For all we know, this guy talked to the suspect, and they're trying to be like, hey, that guy you were talking to. Then they find him in a McDonald's with an orgy of evidence. Somebody recognized him. None of that adds up. Now, I'm not saying he didn't do it. I'm just saying when that video came out showing the actual shooter,
Sure.
and then everyone online was saying these are two different people. Everybody. They were like, the eyebrows are different. Mm-hmm. Then they caught him in McDonald's, and everyone was in agreement it was him.
Why did they dress him up like Lee Harvey Oswald? Did you see that picture?
No.
He had like the same outfit that Lee Harvey had on.
Did he really?
Yeah, with the red sweater. Remember that? And the white collar.
Oh, yeah. That I remember. Yeah, that was Lee Harvey.
Very similar.
To be fair, I got no idea. I mean, maybe it's just two different cameras and they make people look different, and artifacting makes the eyebrows look different. For all I know, I have no idea. I'm just saying, when that story first broke, the narrative online was these are two different people.
I think Epstein's alive for sure. I think he wasn't afraid of going to prison because he knew he was going to get out. Just how he was treated so well in the Florida prison when he was there. He was able to leave.
We're gonna go to chats.
Yes.
And I was like, we're not gonna go. We went over a little bit. Smash the like button. Share the show with everyone you know, even your aunt.
Especially your aunt.
When was the last time you talked to your aunt? You call her up and you just go to family gatherings when you were a kid, and now she's a couple states over and you haven't said anything. You send her a text message. How's it been? You watching Timcast IRL?
You go to notsickofwinning.com and there's still no rankings, so I guess that was a bust. But thank you for the support.
There
Well,
will
maybe tomorrow it'll pop up and say number one.
Maybe.
And don't forget, head over to rumble.com/TimcastIRL. Use promo code TIM10 for premium. You will get access to the Timcast IRL Green Room podcast. We had one with Michael. You'll get access. We do that Monday through Friday. You'll get access to the uncensored call-in show where you can watch that, and Mug Club with Steven Crowder. You get access to a bunch of different shows. It's really fantastic. So do that. And we'll read your Rumble rants and super chats right now. All right. Shane H. Wilder says, how was everyone's weekend? Anything crazy happened? Oh, yeah. I went to UFC.
I saw the pictures. Allison was beaming.
What
hanging around
pictures of us that you
Put
saw?
pictures.
You posted it.
Oh, the picture of me with Allison.
Yes. Calm down.
No, you just freaked me out. Like people were taking pictures
You're
of
from
me.
a different timeline. He didn't post that at all.
He wasn't.
Well, it's because I posted a picture of me and Allison.
Okay, I said she was beaming. Okay.
Oh, I know.
was happy to see
When
her
you-
happy.
When you said there were pictures of me, I was like, did people take pictures of me? And like, so
I'm sure they did, but I meant that too. Holy crap.
and we hung out with Angry Cops and
Richard is great.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
He's so
Shout out to
funny.
Angry Cops on YouTube, and Brandon Herrera, of course,
Yeah.
and Evan from Black Rifle. And so I went there. To
Wait a
watch
minute, Evan from Black Rifle. I got a bone to pick with him because I was hanging out with him in the green room, and we had a great talk. And he's like, "I'm a big fan of the show," and I invited him on. He left Black Rock, right? The former.
No, he's still there.
I thought he was still there.
Or
Black
maybe
Black
thinking of
Rifle?
somebody else. But anyway, I invited him on. He didn't reply.
Son of a bitch.
Whoever, I'm going to find out who this was. I think
It was really really fun, and Mike Tyson was there.
That's sick.
That's
Trump was
awesome.
there. Yeah, so it was really cool. There's nothing like UFC in person. It is, look, I say it's incredible. We're planning on going to like a baseball game at some point with like bringing the crew down and just like chilling for the day with catering to watch a baseball game. But the baseball game is it's in the background as we're hanging out. UFC, man. That, I forgot the name of the fighter, there was like a 28-second knockout. Did you guys watch?
I didn't watch it.
It was what's the guy's name? Starts with a J. Korean guy. He pulls back and then left jab to the face, and the guy went down. Boom! It is amazing to watch that. And the final fight with Merab, I'm pronouncing his name wrong, and O'Malley. All the fights were so good. They were so good.
Did O'Malley win?
No.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he got put into like a chokehold,
Yeah.
headlock or whatever it's called.
Sugar Sean.
Yup.
Awesome.
Yeah, amazing. There was one where the guys were going real slow and everyone was booing, but we went to the lounge for that and just hung out and had they had all the great food, man. It's really amazing. Shout out to Dana White for having me. I don't think he cared all that much that I was there, but he did have me there, and it was amazing to get to go. So
I did a UFC book. I was backstage for one of the shows, and it was when Tim Sylvia, this is years ago, lost to Randy Couture, and it was very surreal.
Oh, wow.
Because you see someone leave the locker room, you see some stuff on the screen, and then he comes back and half his face all swollen, and he's walk hunched over. It was just like some kind of weird montage from an '80s movie where he just changed clothes. It was nuts.
Tim, I'm going to head
It's
out.
intense.
all right, so Shane's gearing up for Inverted World Live, 10 p.m. He's got a big secret to reveal.
Oh yeah, he's got a secret.
Yeah,
The government's
thanks
been lying
Malice.
to us.
I'll have you on to describe it.
Big one.
You got to come on and talk Soviet UFO sometime.
Sure,
But,
I'll be happy to.
Thank you all.
We can talk Dorian Gray.
Yeah, you can. That'd be fun. You can find us at Inverted World Live on Rumble and YouTube, 10 o'clock, Monday through Thursday. I'll see you all there. Thanks,
Open
guys.
calls.
Open calls. Yeah, if you got stories, call
Want
us.
to talk about aliens or Sasquatch, or maybe Sasquatch aliens?
What was that show that went from was it something called Coast to Coast?
Coast to Coast AM.
Yeah.
Yep. Great show.
That's the-
They banned me though for political reasons.
They really?
I was supposed to do that show like a year or two ago.
Is that true?
At the last
Wait,
minute
they're still
phone call.
on?
Yeah.
It's that guy,
Art Bell's
right?
not there,
No,
but
it's
it's a
still
new
on.
guy.
That Dan. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, you're thinking the same thing.
They're like, no thanks. I'm like,
Art Bell passed away like 10 years ago.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
Let's go.
Or did he?
See y'all.
All right, man.
Okay,
Let's
sure.
grab.
No, it's great talking to you, brother.
Let's grab some more. Yo, chats. We got Alpha 2 Omega says, howdy, people. Illegal alien crisis has been a part of the economy for so long that there will be a housing and labor crisis due to deportations. Stop kicking the can down the road and fix it. Pay the cost. Yo,
I don't know.
it means that, let me tell you about DoorDash. I'm at my limit, bro. Did I tell you about DoorDash already?
Yes, Tim.
I did.
And I'm sure you told the audience about it 3 times.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I've never mentioned it before.
I
So-
did it for the second time in my life over the weekend, and I was giddy.
We use DoorDash. And now I'm going to ID every driver because
Tim's gone Karen.
look, let me tell you, Michael, we get people who send us food.
Let me tell you, brother.
Let me tell you about what happens when someone sends food here. You know, what do you think we do with it?
Throw it in the garbage.
Indeed, we do.
Of course.
Food that arrives from sources we can't verify is
Of course.
garbage.
Yes.
Trashed right away. So what happens when I order food from DoorDash
I got sent shroom.
and it says Miguel is coming? It says Miguel is coming.
I'm right here, brother.
And then a blonde woman gets out of a car
Oh, yes.
and says, Miguel's not here. I'm supposed to go, okay, random lady, I'll eat that random food you're giving me. I get pissed off. For the most part, I just said, okay, whatever, I don't know. It turns out what they do is they're DoorDash scams. One person will sign up, create an account, and then basically hire a small group of people who are ineligible either because they're illegal immigrants or they're denied or rejected for some reason, and then skim off the top. And I'm sick and tired of having random people show up. We have security already. We have security issues. It's frustrating.
you know what else?
And I don't want to deal with it.
If you're skimming off how much do money these DoorDash people? They're not
A
breaking.
lot.
What? It's like the benefits very low. Oh, because they're doing a bunch at once.
They're running a company basically with tons of people.
No, but I mean, how much is it each? You're skimming off from people who are barely making anything.
So you sit at home and you send a text message and you get
$5.
$5.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So they might say you keep the tips and we'll keep everything else.
Yeah, you're
I don't
right.
know.
You're right.
All I know is finally, like we did a delivery today and there's some woman and I'm like, no, we're waiting for a dude who's I'm texting with right now. No, I wasn't. I don't know who that is and I don't want to eat food from a person. I already don't know who the DoorDash drivers are, but at least I know if it's a verified individual, I can message a company and say, this is the guy who delivered it.
What if
I get sick or my family gets sick or the employees get sick and they say, Rick was your delivery driver. And I say, no, it was a woman with blonde hair. And they say, that's not us. We don't know who that is.
This is what you do. You bring back Ian and make him the food tester.
Well, it's actually real simple. We're just going to have security check IDs.
Okay, sure.
And if a DoorDash driver pulls up and their name does not match the account, we're going to reject it. And we're going to tell DoorDash, pay for it. And that's annoying. But It's more annoying when it's a problem for us when a vehicle pulls in and we don't know.
Sure, of course, yes.
Like security camera goes off, security people are like,
Wait, can we talk about this? That cash got swatted?
yeah.
Has that stopped? I thought I thought like a lot of like right of center influencers were getting swatted like one after another. Did that stop?
The big wave did.
Yeah, okay.
And I think they said they arrested somebody who was doing
good.
it in a foreign
Okay.
country or something. But swatting is still happening.
I also think
So-
it's crazy how easy it is to swat someone.
I think this is a bit Karen-y, perhaps, but I'm sick of the illegal immigrants doing the DoorDash scam. And it's not just that. Like when I get an Uber, check the license plate and get the name of the driver because you don't want to get in a car with a stranger for obvious reasons.
But it's in your phone already. It shows you the name of the driver's license plate.
That's my point. You call an Uber, and then the car pulls up, and you say, "We're looking for 5931," and then there's a picture of the guy,
Right.
And you look at him and say, "That's the right guy."
I've never had a different. You've had a different person?
No.
Okay.
I'm saying that's good.
Oh yeah, correct.
It is a
yeah.
problem that DoorDash doesn't have photos, and
I see what you're saying.
I'm sick of the illegal.
I see
This is
what
a
you're saying.
major scam. A person will sign up and then have illegal immigrants do the deliveries. They'll create accounts and then give the account and the passwords to illegal immigrants so they can work in this country and make money. And then they take a percentage and give them the cash. I'm done with it. I'm sick of it. I don't really care all that much. Like, I don't know who the person is in the first place. They show up. The problem is it's a security issue. When I say we're getting a delivery, it says Rick. And then a woman pulls in and she goes, "I'm here with DoorDash." And they go, "Who are you? Nobody ordered this. We're waiting for Rick."
I always have contactless delivery. Put it at my door. I don't want to see anyone or talk to anyone.
The problem we have is that we have gates and armed guards.
Yeah.
So
It's a different situation for you.
I told DoorDash at this point, we are going to ID check anybody delivering for you guys. And I said to the customer service, I was like, "I'm just informing you, this means 100% of our deliveries will be rejected and you're going to pay." And they were like, "That's fine, sir. ID checks are normal." I said, "Okay." So
they're comfortable with ID checks.
yes.
Oh,
Well,
that's interesting.
I mean, what happens when you work in an office in New York and you
Well,
order
sure, I understand, but like
someone at Fox News orders, you got to give your ID
a
to
lot
the
of times,
security guard.
right? A lot of times, these companies, when they know what's going on, will look the other way. So the fact that they were publicly be like, no, that's fine. Okay, good for them.
That's why apparently the illegal immigrant scams are massive in rural areas where you're less likely to encounter a business.
Of course. What about Uber Eats though? Have you tried that?
No.
Okay. Is it the same thing?
I would say, unfortunately, for these illegal immigrant scammers, we are a business in a rural area, and we have a security gate and security guards. So I said from now on, all deliveries have to be ID checked.
Yeah.
Which basically means we can never do these deliveries anymore. So the real solution, talking with Allison, is we're going to have to just have a staff member go and do all deliveries and pickups for us.
Or you could just get a guy to be a cook here.
Yeah, that's a lot more expensive. But we have entertained the idea. It's just that's a budget level we're not at to have like a person cooking. But Fridays we order food.
Here's what you do. Easy. Find a 5-year-old minority, call them a racial slur. You raise $500,000, and that pays for your chef.
There you go. Perfect.
I think I'm going to do that. All right, kids, you're on warning.
So I'll just say
I don't care what race they are. I'm going to call them the N-word.
We'll grab some more chats, but I'll just say one more thing, guys. When you experience this with DoorDash or any other service, these are illegal immigrants illegally working here and scamming you and everybody else through that service. And I think DoorDash doesn't include the profile information and lets it happen.
I feel some sympathy for these people, I got to tell you.
That they came here illegally and now they're trying to skirt the system so they can.
Yeah. I kind of do feel sympathy for them. Like if they have a crappy job and they're actually bringing me my food, these are not my primary targets.
Have you ever checked the markup for DoorDash?
I have.
It's like 30%. It's
30%
nuts.
on Taco Bell
It's crazy.
for me.
It's 30% on Taco Bell.
On Taco Bell, like
this out.
I can afford the.
I ordered on DoorDash a local restaurant for delivery, and then it gave me an error saying they were no longer open.
Okay.
So I called them directly and said, "We're open." I said, "Well, DoorDash won't let me do the delivery." And they said, "We'll just take your delivery here." It was $100 cheaper.
What were you ordering?
I'm ordering food for the office.
Oh,
So
a
it's
ton of
gonna
stuff.
be
Yeah,
it's
sure,
gonna be
sure,
4
that-
burgers,
yeah,
4
yeah,
chicken
of course.
sandwiches, like two like seriously, it's gonna be like 8 sandwiches and like 5 appetizers.
Okay, I got you.
And it was $100 cheaper. And it's crazy. So when you look at that, and then you look at how they're running these scams, I'm just like, dude, I don't know if they're the only company that's doing it, but I'm sick of it, man.
So why are you so against Uber Eats?
I never used it.
I mean, it could be they have the solution to your problem.
Sure, maybe. So we'll check.
Yeah.
I'm just saying from now
Uber,
on,
I think they have
show your ID.
Uber, I think will.
Yep.
You
Show
have
your
to
face and everything.
Yeah,
Yep.
They run a check.
I just think everybody else should be cognizant of that. All right, let's go. Let's see. Kyle says, "Thank you, Michael Malice. I want to give you credit for successfully bringing back Retard. I watch that Rogan clip often."
Okay, so I do want to talk about this a bit. because there was an article, I think it was CNN or somewhere, where they talk about the word being brought back.
Who brought it back?
That was me. And I'm not kidding. I was on Rogan.
Yep.
I called Officer Harris that.
You're
It was
ableist.
super viral.
Dude,
and I was shocked that only there were thousands, if not tens of thousands of comments, and all of them only saw one comment that had an issue with the word. The lefty said she was attorney general and senator and vice president. This woman's not stupid. Like, what's wrong with you? But they weren't like, you should use that word. So I was very glad to be able to bring that word back. And I'm going to bring back the F slur for gay people next year. And I think I told you about how I'm going to do it, right?
No.
Oh, I didn't tell you? Okay.
Let's save it for the uncensored portion of the show.
This could be censored. I'll say it uncensored. They'll be fine. I promise.
Huh?
I'm going to be on like Bill Maher something with like Maureen Dowd or some middle-aged white woman. And I'll take out my wallet. I'm bringing this into existence. And I'll say, all right, I have whatever. I'll count out the money, $40. I'll have 200 just in case. I'll be like, I will give $200 to St. Jude's Hospital for Sick Kids if you could go 10 minutes without being a complete slur. And no matter what she does, I'll be like, sorry, kids.
Sorry,
And I'll donate the
kids.
money anyway because I don't want to be mean. But that's how the word will be brought back. Watch.
Let's grab some more chats.
10 minutes.
All right.
No matter what she does, I'll say it, right? She can't win.
Appreciate you, Michael.
Kane Abel says if
It's
you
a
want
good word.
All right. Kane Abel says if you want a solution that does not require prison for seditionists and insurrectionists, how about losing their citizenship and exile from the U.S.?
As an anarchist, I'm a much bigger fan of exile for many crimes than prison because
Me too.
prison makes things worse. It's very hard to go from prison back to normal life.
And I got to pay for it?
And we got to pay for it's not
Come on.
cheap. So a lot of these conservatives who are like locking away the key, I'm like, it'd be cheaper to put them through college than what you're paying for.
the island.
And it helps no one.
The island.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we get an island. We put them on a boat.
Which island?
Right.
We put them on the island.
Not one of the crappy ones.
Yeah.
Iceland?
What?
Iceland?
No. Iceland's nice. Have you been to? You ever been to Iceland?
No.
With your style of music, I thought Iceland's really big with that kind of music.
No, there's not. No, wait, I'm probably thinking of Greenland. But no, I have not been to Iceland.
Okay.
I think Little St. James is available for use right now.
Whoop. It's little.
I don't get it.
That's Epstein's Island.
Little St.
My point is, I would argue that the island is better than the death penalty.
Yes.
Like if you went to a guy who was convicted of a capital crime, but see the thing is, talking about like Carl Benjamin, for instance, his moral worldview is that the punishment must be made. It's not about retribution. It's not about.
I agree.
It's about making someone feel pain for the crime they committed.
I agree, but I think I very much do not trust the government to do the death penalty.
I agree.
correctly.
I agree. This is why I'm against the death penalty, because Kamala Harris is going to come to you at one point and say that guy over there should die. And
I think a better way for us to say it is I'm against the government being trusted to do the death penalty right.
Agreed.
We're not
Agreed.
against someone getting done for doing something awful.
Yes.
as a penalty for law, the problem is our system of governance creates problems. So I say the island.
Yeah.
You send them to an island. It's a win-win. We don't got to pay their bills. We don't got to think about them at all. But people don't like it. They say, Tim, the island's a bad idea.
I don't know. I disagree.
All right, let's go. Daniel Lee says, revised the Marines hymn. From the halls of Pasadena to the shores of Sunset Beach, we fight our country's battles in L.A. on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom and to keep our cities clean, we are proud to claim the title of United States Marine.
I am also, now that we're saying this, I'm a little worried about when you have a President Biden and what if you have lockdowns or something and then they start sending Marines against people we like.
Yeah.
My response to you, Michael, is that we've already lived through that. And the issue now is the escalation will be substantially worse.
Sure.
So the real question is, do we intend to win the political battles right now?
I agree, but I think people need to keep in mind that when people say Biden's the worst president ever, the country can't get more totalitarian. It's just like, look at England right now. We have a long ways to go, and it can get much, much worse. So be thankful you're an American even at this point.
When the Biden admin was traveling across the country and rounding up people who were at J6, and I mean not the rioters, I mean the people who are walking around.
Yeah.
Or Owen Schroyer, who was
Right.
convicted literally for words that he said. His sentencing was expanded because of it. We've been through that, and the real point that you're making is not that watch out if Democrats do it. Is you should just say, if we lose this, it'll get worse than you realize.
Oh yeah, that's a fair
Yeah.
Yes.
And you don't have to guess. Look at England right now.
I mean, the rest of the country can just look at California right now and think about how bad the United States will get.
You can leave California very easily.
Yeah, fair enough.
Let's go.
And I'd still rather live in California right now than the UK.
But yeah, it's sunny.
Yeah, but I mean, other things too, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. J7 says, can the U.S. seize Soros' assets?
No.
Yes, they could.
They're not all in the U.S.
Yes, so.
What are you talking about? What do you mean? How are we going to seize assets that are in Italy?
So as a function of law, the answer is no. As a function of U.S. military power, they can do a lot of things that...
If I've got money in Switzerland, how are you going to get it? You're going to invade Switzerland? They
No.
got all those army knives.
But well, the bigger question then
They're going to have the magnifying glass.
the question is leverage, but it's when it comes to Switzerland, it's a question of what power do they actually exert over WEF interests, the international, the IMF, the World Bank, the SWIFT payment system, because then it's going to be difficult for a U.S. president for sure.
It's also a very, very slippery slope if you're going to be seizing, estates. I mean,
Right.
This is
For political reasons too.
right.
So it's rough. I think the bigger issue is to just investigate seditious conspiracy.
Yeah.
Where applicable, where money from Soros has been used to fund
That's the crazy part. Yeah.
violence, and it has been. So here's the problem with conservatives. They say things like, the left is getting paid to protest. No, they're not. Nonprofits receive grants from Soros' foundations.
Sure.
They use it to hire full-time organizers. The organizers rally and propagandize and bring out real people.
Sure.
What the government can do, what Trump can do, is make the argument that this money is intended. It's like a RICO. It's like, we know what you're planning to do. They can track and say 73 out of the last 100 events organized by foundations funded through these foundations have been violent riots. Now, they're not advertising as such, but you make the argument. This is the intention. They're just trying to gain plausible deniability when they say we don't do these things. And they'll make it a First Amendment issue, but that's what you do. But the bigger question is, as Democrats openly defied the courts and did whatever they wanted and arrested lawyers, are Republicans just going to say, oh, no, I guess the court said I can't do it?
Well, I think I don't want to say it, but I think a lot of people underestimate to what extent Republicans venerate and fetishize the legal system and the Constitution, which they view as an extension of the Constitution.
Let's talk about this in the uncensored portion of the show, as we're going to right now. So smash that like button. Share the show with literally everyone you know. Do you have an adult child who went off to college recently? Say, hey, son, haven't talked to you in a little bit. Watch Timcast IRL. Michael agrees.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Rumble.com/TimcastIRL is going to be that uncensored call-in show. Michael, do you want to shout anything out?
You guys can follow me on Michael Malice on Twitter. I hope you all bought and enjoyed the book. I guess our experiment didn't work, but no harm, no foul. It was still fun.
Well, hold on. Everybody go to
notsickofwinning.com.
buy the book.
Buy the book.
Because it may be that we wake up in the morning and you're number one if everybody buys it.
That's true. It's not going to take that much.
And you are laying out over 100 days of Trump's first 100 days each day, and the thing he did, his administration did, that was a good thing for this country.
Because there's going to be a lot of people telling you to give up. It's over. We lost Elon. Blah blah blah. Don't let them get to you.
It's a book of white pills.
It's a book of white. It's a lot of funny stuff in there. When I was going back, I'm like, I forgot about this. There's a lot of funny stuff in there.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. I'm Phil That Remains Official on Instagram. The band is All That Remains. New record dropped in January. It's called Anti-Fragile. You can check it out on YouTube, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, Pandora, and Deezer. Don't forget the left lane is for crime.
We will see you all over at rumble.com/TimcastIRL for the uncensored show. Thanks for hanging out.